Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to our Saturday conversations. Aap sabka swagat hai. So today's topic is, what is Sanatana Dharma? And today I'm very excited because we have a special guest, a devotee of the Shri Vaishnava Sampradaya. Hare Krishna. I'm just waiting for a few of you to join. And so it will be a conversation between two devotees from slightly different sampradayas, but kind of under the same family, the same philosophy of the Vaishnava, Sanatana Dharma. Hare Krishna, Balwant Rana ji. Just waiting. While we're waiting, I actually wanted to do a quick prayer for everybody in India. It seems like it's getting very difficult situation there with coronavirus and lack of oxygen and lack of medical help that is available, actually, since there's so many cases. So we've been hearing very, very scary and very disturbing stories from so many people. So we just wanted to actually say a prayer to Lord Nrsimhadev. He's the protector of the devotees. He's very, very compassionate. So if you please join with me, we'll pray for all of those suffering right now under this horrible disease, coronavirus, and we pray to Nrsimhadev to please protect us. Jai Nrsimha, Shri Nrsimha, Jai Jai Shri Nrsimhadev, Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bhringam, Ugram Viram Mahavishnu, Jalantam Sarvato Mukham, Nrsimham Bhishanam Bhadram, Mrityor Ramamyaham. We pray for everyone who is really suffering, that they may find shelter in the warm faith and embrace of the Lord. He's there for all of us. We just have to remember him. We must have faith in him. So hopefully today's conversation will help build the faith and that devotion that we all are looking for. Actually, that is what's really something that we need in our lives. That's the void that we can fill. Hare Krishna to everyone. Okay, so today's topic is actually what is Sanatana Dharma? And our special guest today is Devnarayan Srinivasa ji from the Shri Sampradaya. And we're going to hear about what is the Shri Sampradaya, what is Sanatana Dharma, what is the differences and similarities. So there's four main Vaishnava Sampradayas. It's kind of like a big family. I look at it more focusing on the similarities because the differences are actually quite minute in one way. But the actual philosophy is very much the same, that we are here, the Jivatma is meant to regain this eternal relationship with the Paramatma, with the Supreme Lord, who is, whether you call him Sriman Narayana, whether we call him Rama, Krishna, it's actually the same person. We're talking about the exact same person. This is a very important distinction to understand amongst the Vaishnava family. So instead of focusing on the differences, today we're going to have a dialogue about how we can inspire each other, how we can increase our bhakti, our faith, and our Sharanagati. So please, join me in welcoming our guest. I'll just read quickly about him. Devnarayan Srinivasa Ramanujadasa is a disciple of Ananta Vibhusit Vedanta Acharya Sri Ramakrishna Swami. He is a devotee of the Shri Vaishnava Sampradaya of Bhagavad Ramanujacharya. So there's Ramanandis and the Ramanuji, Shri Vaishnavas. He's only 23 years old, and he's studying at the University of Manchester in the UK. He's doing his BSc in Biomedical Science. He did his primary education in South India, Rishi Valley School, which we'll hear more about. But it's really inspiring to see someone very dedicated, young, and still upholding so much of the Sanatana Sanskriti. So he is actually helping with the Shankha Chakra, or he's what's the word? We'll ask him exactly what role he plays with the Shankha Chakra organization. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram, and they're really very wonderful quotes about Vedic wisdom. Regularly they're posting to help inspire us to reconnect with this ancient wisdom that is there for our benefit, that is there for us to guide us and help us. So without further ado, let's please join me in welcoming Devnarayan ji. Jai Shriman Narayan. Hare Krishna. One second. You're muted. Could you? 1 second. Jai Shriman Narayan.
Jai Shriman Narayan. I apologize. I muted that. Shriman Narayan.
No.
Yes. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Doesn't befit the person.
Right. No. My honor, my wonderful pleasure to have you with us today, because we've been following you on Instagram and seeing your regular posts, and it's very inspiring because as we can all appreciate, this Vedic wisdom is there for us, and we've really lost touch with it, unfortunately. So I'm just very grateful to find find some more youth involved with this. So please, if you could, if we could go back to how you got inspired. What is it that inspires you to continue, especially with the tilak? You are living in the UK. You told me that you go to to your classes every day like this. This isn't every day. This is not just sometimes.
I mean, I don't wear the dhoti because it's very cold.
But the tilak every day.
Tilak is every day. Yeah.
Practicality. So please tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from, and how you remain inspired. That's a real secret these days.
Okay. I'll just start with the Mangalacharana first.
Yes. Please.
Yonityamachyutabadam bhajayugmarukma vyamohatastaditarani trinayamene asmadguror bhagavatosya dayeka sindho Ramanujasya charanam sharanam prapadye Kaudinyavam savarvaridhi purna chandram Srimat parankushabadam bhajabhringarajam Rangarya deshikabadapta shudeshikatvam Sri Ramakrishna guruvaryamaham prapadye Lokacharyaya gurave Krishna padasya sunave Samsara bhogi samdrashta jiva jivatave namaha. Jai Shriman Narayan.
That was wonderful.
Yeah. It's just a Mangalacharanam. It's very important for us to realize that we are not ourselves if it is not for the ancestors that have come before us to guide us till this point. So that is very important.
Absolutely.
Before you start anything, you must start by remembering them and recalling their merit. And because today I'll be talking about tattvas as well, Lokacharya, he has a great impetus here in terms of the Tattvatraya. And maybe I'll be pointing out a little bit of what he has said. And it's very important to realize that what I'm saying is 99% what has come before me, and 1% maybe somewhere there may be some truti. So I apologize for that already. Okay. I'm from Sikkim, actually. I was born and brought up in the mountains. Even though I'm a second generation education. My father was the first person who ever got educated in the English medium. Before that, we haven't been educated in the English medium. Some may have studied Sanskrit, maybe. I'm not very sure about my past very much in that sense. Then I studied in Rishi Valley in the south. It's a Jiddu Krishnamurti Foundation school. So the good thing about that is there was a spiritual leaning to that school as well. And I think spiritual for those who are spiritual already, because I don't see everybody who've passed out to be very spiritual in nature. But there is a certain vibe there, very calm, composed people. As long as they remain in the school. And I think with the dissociation of the school, the innate nature also comes in, and depending on how they are, they remain the way they do. And
sorry, where was this? Where exactly?
Andhra Pradesh, Rishi Valley is Andhra Pradesh, Chittor district. There,
Acha.
in those days, it was one state. Now I think it's Telangana and Simandra, Andhra Pradesh. Slightly different, but we are still
Acha.
in Andhra Pradesh, Chittor district.
So was it like a Gurukulam or just
So if you want to call it Gurukulam,
normal?
I don't think it would be too far off from it. But it's an English medium school. They don't teach Sanskrit. I
Acha.
wasn't even allowed to learn Sanskrit because I
Are
was studying
Bapre Bap.
Telugu. I,
Oh,
so
okay.
we had to study Telugu first, and if you could read and write Telugu, you could go on to study Sanskrit for 1 or 2 years. But because I couldn't write Telugu, I could only speak, and because of that, they said you have to continue
Acha.
studying Telugu. So I didn't study Sanskrit there. Unfortunate that, yeah.
So kind of like a adhikaram has to be established. If you know Telugu,
Yeah,
then acha.
something of the kind, something of the
Okay.
kind. The different adhikaram there,
Ah,
and
okay. So then that's even more intriguing because I assumed this was a Gurukula because the way Rishi Valley School, I assumed it
no,
was
no,
a
no. My first language is English. So
acha. So then you're saying, okay, continue.
yeah, then it's a big school, maybe 400 acres, and we have very little people, barely 300, 360 students. So the teacher to
Hmm.
student ratio is really good, good connection. So it's a forest, basically middle of nowhere, mountains and
Wow.
hillocks everywhere. We can go around. At least when I was younger, we could go around anywhere. As it got more
Hmm.
strict by the years went, and it's a beautiful place.
Acha.
If people are living in India and you have small kids and you want them to go to a good school, Rishi Valley is not a bad place.
Wonderful.
Place. I was there for 9 years, and
Wow.
after that I came
So
out. Yeah, go ahead.
well, I'm just curious because so right, I'm more curious as to your upbringing that hasn't, that that we may be able to connect to your spiritual practice now. If you
Right.
can, like, was it the school? Was it the way your parents, practiced at home? Was there already something in this part of your life that
There
inspires
is
you
there's a,
now?
there's a system of thought which I accepted to be right for me. So
Hmm.
in those days, there was this whole concept of we don't believe in God because we don't know where He is. We have never seen Him, so we don't believe. And
Ah.
but on the other hand, my family is a religious family. We have done it the right way. Never, my father, mother never forced me to do anything. I just listened to them anyway. And the only thing I would say is, until I understand it, I will continue practicing because my ancestors practiced, my father practiced, my grandfather, my great grandfather passed it. I'm sure before him they also practiced, and because they have
Hmm.
been doing it for so long, it's been working for them. I should
Hmm.
do it as well until I understand it. And if I understand and disagree, then I can stop my practices. So that was the idea.
Ah.
Because of that, I got Sharanagati at in when I was in my 12th. When I did Sharanagati Diksha is something I can explain to you at some point if required. Or Pancha Sanskara it's called. And then my father said, my acharya said, you should bathe in the morning and pray, and then these are the things you should do and eat. I didn't learn Sandhya Vandana properly then, but whatever I could, I
Hmm.
did. Not a day went where I ate without praying and prayed without bathing. So every morning, without fail, I would do it. I don't know why, and I would just continue doing it. And now I know why. Because I know why, I will tell my kids, if I ever have them, to do it continuously. And then until
बिल्कुल
you listen to
सही
it, you just keep doing. It's very important for us to keep that line. You'll understand it some point in the future. I can guarantee
Hmm.
that, but I
Yes.
can't guarantee you'll
I
understand it right away.
I find it very curious that you said that you followed it until you understood it.
Yes,
And then the moment that you don't understand it, is that what you said? And
yes, yes,
then it makes complete sense because you can only truly practice something that you understand. And I feel like this is something that is truly lacking in the modern day India, that you can say. Bharat mein aajkal jo, even the education, if I look at my own education, it was so secular that there was no question of any kind of education about these kind of practices. Like you're saying, something so simple as Sandhya Vandanam, or like, bathing, praying, eating. This is like a very basic level of um, you know spiritual practice. It seems like such a basic thing, but that was not addressed or explained. So now when you come to the West, you're like, ha kha lenge, you can eat without showering. It's a cold country, who needs to shower? Who needs to pray to God? Like you're saying, if you can't see God, you can't understand him, then why would you pray? Why
yes.
would you have these spiritual? So very interesting that I think this is something which any modern day youth would be able to relate with, that you can only practice something you understand.
No,
And
no,
when
that's
you're
the problem. That's what I'm saying. That's the wrong understanding. You keep
acha,
practicing until you understand, because the practice is the path to understanding.
huh?
So if
Okay.
you do not practice, you will not be able to understand its incompleteness. You practice it to
Hmm.
understand. You don't understand it, then start practicing. What if you don't understand? You'll never practice. So you practice it till
Okay.
you understand, because the practice is the process of understanding.
Hmm.
That's the difference that I'm trying to make. Because if I decided to start uh, understanding, and after which I'll practice, what if I stop wanting to understand it? Then I will never practice. And it is a good practice to wake up and bathe
Yes.
and pray and eat in the morning. It's a good practice.
Okay. Yeah. So I do see the logic in even especially as a child, you can't really truly understand anything. Like, how are you going to understand God or the benefit of showering and eating? So okay, I agree with that point that the even for my own children, that's how we practice. Today, yesterday was Ekadashi, so we're doing it, and slowly, I think they will, when their intelligence matures and they can truly grasp the depth of the advantage of doing these practices, then hopefully it will become even more
Yes, Rudra.
meaningful in their life.
Yes.
Huh? Yeah. So I fully agree with that.
People do it all the time. They're just not recognizing it. All the children are going to school all the time. Why do you need to go to
Hmm.
school? The child
Hmm.
doesn't know it. He just goes to school
Yes.
because his parents are taking him there, putting him there, picking him up in the evening.
Okay.
Um, and to be
Yes.
honest, until whatever I learned until maybe fourth or fifth standard was absolutely useless, because I didn't need to know. I didn't need to know algebra and so on in my fourth. I didn't need to know all that. I learned it anyway in my sixth. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of things we don't need to know, but we still find out. And what we need to do, we
Yes.
never learn. And so,
Hmm. Well, because there was a separation between education and religion. Like they had to separate. In the West, they've done this:
yeah.
separate the education from the religious institutions, and that's a. It's fine if the families and the households are able to then inculcate the spiritual values. But what's happening is mother and father are so busy working, तनतोड़ मेहनत कर रहे हैं, उनको टाइम नहीं है बच्चों को ये सब स्पिरिचुअल चीज सिखाना, and then they're not getting it from school, they're not getting it at home now, so
Where
there's no spiritual education.
ये वहाँ एक गलती है, यह है कि बहुत पीढ़ियां चल चुकी हैं जिन्होंने अपने पुरखों से ज्ञान प्राप्त नहीं की. There have been
Hmm.
many generations where they have not studied. My great grandfather wasn't an educated man, nor in Sanskrit nor in English, even though he could
Hmm.
read a little bit because of the family that we are in. And then my grandfather also never went. He never went to a gurukulam, because in the mountains the first thing is to feed the family and eat. It's very
Of
difficult to
course.
do anything else,
Hmm.
and so on. And then we came along in that kind of lineage. So there is already a generation gap. Now you cannot
Hmm.
expect spiritual training at home, because the father doesn't know anything, the grandfather barely
Hmm.
knows anything, uh,
Hmm.
or the mother or the
In
grandmother.
terms of, yeah, in terms
They
of
don't
the,
know.
you're talking about the Vedic Jnanam, right? Like the actual, when you
Everything
say
is
they
Vedic
don't know
Jnana.
anything because yes.
Oh no, yes. They don't know anything in the spiritual realm. You
Yeah,
see,
meaning
how
like
will you
they
inculcate?
can't huh. Of
Because
course
the
they can
great
teach you
grandfather
about what they
didn't get
know.
to teach. Yes, the great grandfather couldn't teach because of this generation gap for the many years of invasion and
Spiritual.
conquest.
Huh.
We have lost those years, yeah, because our great
Because
grandfather couldn't. They had to fight for freedom. Before them, they had to fight the other set of
yes.
people, and we had to keep fighting. Now they did not have time to
Huh.
learn. Now we have settled. Finally, 1947, finally found out that we need to start studying now, but we can't,
Hmm.
because the English education system is rampant. We have barely any gurukulas left, and those who have learned are not able to teach their children, because they are learning that there is no God. So
Hmm.
how will they
Yes.
study?
Or what has God done for you? Anyways, it's really a very very unfortunate situation, but there is hope. I feel like, with your efforts, and obviously there's ISKCON, and there's so many Sanatanis, as you might say, people who want to reestablish the benefit and relevance of the Vedic system, of the Vedic education, because it is absolutely the it is there for a benefit. This is what people are, I feel like, missing. That it seems that the notion is that the Vedic system was somehow separation, discriminatory. It separates people. It it's there to, it's full of prejudice and casteism, and there's just so much garbage in my opinion, if that surround these misconceptions, because people don't know, they've not opened the books, so they think that Manusmrit is sexist and racist and all these names they'll call it, because they have no idea कि लिखा क्या है इसमें, और जो मतलब एक दो लाइंस उसमें से निकाल के बोल देंगे देखो, they don't like women, they don't like caste, they don't like this person. Anyway, so I'm getting carried away because I get so emotional, because
these are misdirections. We are not trying to, we're not focusing on the main point. All these things, this is this, that is that. There's a misdirecting you. Whoever is doing it, if somebody is saying these things, obviously they have not studied it. Manusmriti takes up to 12 years to study. Who has studied Manusmriti? Okay. Think about that, Adhyayan anyway, in any text, any given text, it takes a long time. Which one of these people have studied for 12 years? May not. Okay.
अरे 12 मिनट भी अगर लगा दिया होता तो फिर शायद पता चलता कि नहीं. It's not. Anyway, so coming back, we're going to get into all of this a little bit. I just want to understand a little bit more about your connection with it, so that we can, make some relevant, get a relevant picture here. So you had your education, and then you ended up in the UK.
Yeah, I started studying biomedical sciences. There were a few years here and there. I was farming for a year at home.
Acha.
We are farmers.
Wonderful.
And I know it was actually, anyway, we are farmers.
No.
We'll keep it at
well,
that.
that's very interesting. So farming in Sikkim, in the hills, that must have been such an incredible experience. If you have any comment about the whole farming situation.
Terrace fields. Terrace fields, no problem in Sikkim. All this farmers protest not happening in Sikkim. Sikkim anyway is a different state altogether in terms of all these things. And people are fine. Nowadays, the people are going away from farming because the government is giving so many subsidies, which is not good. People are not working anymore. No more, we call khetala. There are no people who would help you farm. The number of farmers have reduced, so we are barely able to farm. Even this year when I went back home, the number of people who would help you in the fields are very less.
So why would the subsidies make people not farm?
Because you're getting free rice. Why will you grow it? If you're getting 10 kgs rice every month for free, why will you grow it anymore? So
okay.
Earlier,
so the subsidy itself, because I've also heard, many people in the Western world are arguing that the more welfare you do, the more free stuff you give away, it kind of de-incentivizes people to do the work. So I'm curious to hear this, because I've never heard this, that the more subsidies you give to the farmer, the less they will grow it.
No, subsidies in terms of what? Because they have been put under BPL, which is below poverty line. See, these are all political things. I don't get into them generally, but these are they have these.
Well, this is the first time I'm talking to a farmer who is also a Sanatani, so, or like a with a Vedic perspective. So I'm curious.
In the mountains, even see, in general, Brahmanas are not supposed to do farming. They are not allowed to. But in the mountains, it is you have to. There is no other choice, because you have to eat. Nobody's going to farm for you. So you are allowed to do that. There is something called like in the West, the Brahmanas in the West, in let's say Marma Bhumi, which is like desert, they will be allowed to drink. They used to be allowed to drink water from skin. There are bottles made of skin,
leather,
because they require leather. Yes, because they are allowed to do that because of their geographical region, just like that. So we are allowed to farm. So we'll
come back to it. You know what we'll do? We'll have another talk with you about the whole farmer situation, because I'm very interested. But moving on. Okay, so you're a farmer in Sikkim, and your family is the Brahmanas. For many obviously the Brahmanas. So that means your whole lineage is there. But you're saying that unfortunately there's a gap. The last few generations, even in your own ancestry, they were not educated. So and you're recognizing that that's because they had to fight. They were not, India is in such turmoil that everything was turned upside down in a way. So can you see what may have inspired you to take it up again?
Because even though the education line was not there, so that education of Brahma Jnana was missing completely, we still have some people who used to go and learn. So you have one or two people from a village who would go to Banaras and get their Acharya, become Acharya, come back. So because vidhis and vidhans are continuing, right? Because if there is death, there is death ceremony, and those ceremonies will be there. Puranas were held every year in our house, but Bhagavad Puranas every year. My grandfather used to do, apparently, and even until my grandfather, and then my father also every year, as much as we can. This right now, because we live in the Gangtok for more part of the time now, it's become a little difficult. So, but these vidhis have gone on. They have been wearing tilak for a long time. And then you see them. My grandmother, if she sees me and says, your forehead is empty, what do I tell her? Then I just wear tilak. And from then on, it just started. I never stopped. Because she said that my forehead is empty. I never thought about an empty forehead because the forehead is generally empty. So you learn from your proximity, satsangatve nisangatvam, nisangatve nirmohatvam, Shankaracharya. With satsangam only, the good things which the devotees share, satsangam with what? With the good devotees, with the good people around you, you will only elevate. So that's what it is. And my grandfather used to pray in the morning. I never saw him eat without praying. And I also started doing that. And it's a good habit to have. And I did see, so some things are true and some things are not true. If you see something and you say this is true, in the sense that, yes, this is happening, you need to do something about it. So I realized that if I don't continue the lineage, if I don't start studying maybe the Vedantam, Upanishad, Purana, Itihasa, if I don't start studying, who will study? Nobody's studying anyway. So for the few people who are studying, if I don't start studying, I cannot expect somebody else to study and re-establish Dharma in it. So you started from you. And that's why I started.
Wonderful. So what I'm hearing is that you could see the benefit in the practice. Like you could see that there was something there. Maybe you fully don't understand what it is, but you could see that with even like the Brahma Jnana may not be there, but the practicing, the Kriya and the sadhana was still there in your family. Yes. And that's also so powerful. Just like you were saying even earlier, that's why you just do it. Even if you don't understand it, continue your traditions, continue your family traditions. So that's really wonderful. Can you just briefly, many people ask me, and we have our answer, about the tilakam. So what can you briefly explain? What do you mean by the forehead is empty and now it is full? So why do you have a painted forehead, Ji?
Yes, I told you about this, now didn't I? It's Bhagavana's paduka. Not the paduka, but the footprint. Right. He's on the forehead. That's it. And Shri is with him. Shri and Bhagavan are not different. When I do my Sandhya Vandana, Sandhya Vidhi, you start because you bathe, your physical body is clean. Then you have to clean your antakaranam. The insides have to be clean, spiritually, emotionally. You have to clean yourself before you start doing japa. You cannot do japa without your internal cleansing, according to Sandhya Vidhi. Now, I don't know how other sampradayas do it in their own ways. And I'll ask for forgiveness now itself. But this is how I was taught. So we do absolutely. Outside, we clean ourselves from the outside. Then we clean ourselves from the inside. So to start cleaning, the most important thing is you are nothing. You are even smaller than the dirt under the feet of the Bhagavan Sriman Narayana. Not just that, you're smaller than even the dirt under the feet of your Acharya. You are nobody.
Yes.
So to realize that you are nobody, and I don't even deserve to have Bhagavana's footprint on my forehead, but because he gave me the grace, I'm allowed to put it after my Pancha Sanskara. And therefore, every morning, to remind me that I'm a nobody, I put it. I'm a slave. It's to show that.
Oh, I love that. And I fully relate to that. When you put on the tilak, immediately you feel like, am I worthy of this? I'm representing the Supreme Person. This is him, in Tulsi ji. So this is so
it keeps me in the right place. I cannot go out and buy anything now. They'll see me. This fellow, he looks like somebody is buying some fishy things. So I don't also.
One time I was driving and somebody cut me off and I was getting so angry. I was like inside feeling like, what is wrong with people that, just, they don't care about anyone else. And I was almost about to like have a go and then I looked in the mirror and I saw my tilak and I said, oh, no. आज कुछ नहीं बोलना है भगवान का चिन्ह है like you have to represent, and it really does something to your consciousness. It really helps you, like you're saying, be the best version of who you are. It and gives you some kind
to
of
realize that you are nobody. Not the best version of yourself. That means you still exist. You are a nobody.
No, acha.
Okay.
Well, a best version of the slave that you're talking
Yeah.
about, because I fully agree that we are, we are just the servant.
Dasa.
Dasanu dasa. We are not even the dasa. If I could be the das or dasi, that would be something very special. Anyway, so that's wonderful. Thank you for that description of the tilakam. Um, okay, let's get right into it because we're already half an hour. I'd love to know more about your education in, the UK and all that. If you have anything special you want to share, otherwise we'll get straight into Sanatana Dharma.
No, it's not very special. Trust me on that.
Well,
Life is.
maybe if you
I'm
can
just
share
studying
it.
biomedical. Okay, anyway, I'll just give it to you. I'm just studying biomedical sciences, University of Manchester. Some research-based work. I would like to do more research in the future if financially it permits me. Very difficult, people, and this year has not been very good anyway. So
Yes.
let's see how things work out. If I can get some work, maybe I'll work on that as well. And some form of bhautik vijnana is also very important, as long as you have to feed yourself, because adhyatmik
Yes.
vigyan doesn't feed you. And so, and coming into the spiritual realm of such depth, so it came much after I came to the UK. I was practicing my things by and large, but then I wasn't very educated in the system. I wasn't studying hard enough. I started with Advaita Vedanta first, actually. Maybe we'll have another chat about Advaita. But I started
Yes.
studying Advaita Vedanta, even though I was already initiated into Vishishta Advaita Sampradaya. I started with Advaitam. Um, Brahma Satyam Jagon Mitya Jivo Brahma Para. So only Brahma is Satya, Jiva and Bhagavana and Ishvara and Jivatma are the same. Okay, that's the basic tenet, and then we can go ahead and understand it. To be honest, most sampradayas are talking about very similar things, and that too in a Vaishnava sampradaya. They're basically talking about the same thing. Some places the names are different, and some places only much later. We are not in a position to see the differences. Honestly, we are all the
Yes.
same thing. To Once you start
Ah.
getting much deeper into it, once you go into bhakti yoga and you go to para bhakti and so on, then you see the difference, because a sharanagati, he will not bother much with a para bhakti, paragyan, parama bhakti ityadi. These things he won't bother with. So those there will changes, but today there is no change, there is no learning. you know Sukharthi tyajate vidya, vidyarthi tyajate sukham, sukharthi va kuto vidyarthina sukham. I think this is the shloka. Basically saying a sukharthi, person who wants pleasure all the time, he will not study. And a person who wants to study, he doesn't care about sukham. So sukharthi va kuto vidya, a person who wants sukham, he'll forget about the vidya, and a person who wants vidya will forget about any sukham. He will sit in one place, in one rug, and he will study. So it's time for us to educate ourselves in Sanatana Dharma. That's what I think. So
And Srila Prabhupada calls it the higher taste. Even obviously
yes,
Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he describes this higher taste. As soon as you have this higher taste to have jnanam, and then even past jnana is devotion. Once you have the lalasa and the taste, then this material pleasure seems so tuchha. It seems so like what it's like a drop in the ocean of the anandam that
yes,
we are actually entitled to. It is our right to be full of bliss and knowledge. That
yes,
is,
yes.
we are made of that. So wonderful that okay, so you came to the UK and you were obviously uh, already knowing about Vishishta Advaita. So for people who don't know, there's different ideas in the Vedanta literature. There's so much there, but mainly there's Advaitavad, there's Vishishta Advaitavad, or so you're mentioning that the Shri Sampradaya is generally proposing Vishishta Advaitavad, and but then you also started studying Advaita Vedanta.
I
So
didn't
can
know
you?
about Vishishta Advaita then. I was just doing my
Acha.
thing. So I
Ha, ha.
started studying. I told you that story. Now. I thought I'll not repeat the
Yes.
story, but I could tell you if you like. I was not feeling, I couldn't sleep for like 20, 25 days, and I didn't know what to do. So I asked my parents, what should I do? And then they said,
Krishna.
I don't know. So I went to the library to just pick up a book. So when I'm going to sleep in the night, I could just read something and then I'll fall asleep, hoping. I went there and I went to a random, information commons, and just went and had a look at the book. Um, there was a book above. When I picked that up, there was another book below that, and I looked at that book, and then it said Hinduism, Nikhilananda. This is by Nikhilananda. It was talking about Advaita Siddhanta. I read that book and I realized I know nothing, because it's talking about Maya and this and that and so on, and I understood nothing. So then I took that book home, and then from then I started. And then I didn't sleep for the next 10-15 days because I was studying all night, reading these things. So I would sleep maybe like 2 or 3 hours in the morning. But then in a month's time, I was already very well versed with Advaita Siddhanta. I was studying this text called Drigdrishya Viveka, which was beautiful in itself. And then I said, I want to take sannyasa. Then my father told me, we are from Sri Sampradaya, we don't take sannyasa. We do Grihastha Jivanam. Then I said, okay, that's good only then. Then I'll stick with Grihastha Jivana. So then that's how it started in short. Okay. And then from then on, I've been studying. I realized that there are people in our as a youth. If I look here, the Hindu society, they do nothing. There's barely any movement. There's any motion. If I look at somebody, I cannot see him as a Hindu from anybody else. I realized that nobody knows anything anymore, and I don't know anything at all anyway. So I realized that one needs to start studying and understanding and re-educating themselves, and that's where the Shankha Chakra started. At the moment, I do it all by myself at the moment. But if there is somebody who will help me out, that would be good, because I have a lot of university work as well. So it takes a huge chunk of time. I make some videos also with the help of a friend of mine. Yeah, she helps me a lot actually with the videos and the animation. So if there was somebody who could help me with the animation, that'd be great. Just so that people can learn.
I'm there with you. Let's collaborate on that for sure. That would be wonderful. But so, because you said organization, I thought, oh, maybe there's many people in it, but now you're telling me it's just you. So well done.
My chitta and achitta and being this one self. That's the organization right now. I'm not even registered. So.
Well, it's even more inspiring, because look at what one person can do. For those of you that don't know, on Instagram, Devnarayan ji has almost 22,000 followers. It's not just a small amount. This is a really wonderful blessing and a great service to, especially the Hindus that we call ourselves. But if without the jnana, without the actual practices, can we truly call ourselves Hindu? And like you're saying, the Hindu society, you go to colleges here and they'll have a Hindu society. But what is the meaning of just getting together and maybe having samosas and celebrating Diwali or something? But if there's no actual substance, this is what Srila Prabhupada really felt, that after this, all the invasions and the colonization and freedom and everything achieved in India, this was definitely something hugely missing. Everyone's just running towards materialism in such a blindfolded way, kind of. So really, to reawaken our identity as Sanatanis, as Sanatana Dharma followers, we must study, like you're saying.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. You must study first.
We must.
People don't call themselves Hindu without studying it. First, study. Don't teach. What we try and do all the time. We teach somebody else. Yes, teaching is good when you have learned something, so that we remember. It's a good habit. But sometimes what happens is teaching without learning yourself, then you misteach, and that's a problem. So try and understand at least 70-75%. Then when you explain, you learn the rest. You start remembering things, you start recalling, you start bringing connections. Yes, teaching is a very good thing. थोड़ा सा अध्ययन स्वयं से भी करना चाहिए, तत्पश्चात आप किसी को सिखाएं तो वही उत्तम
स्वाध्याय. Yes. Okay, so wonderful. Let's just get straight into it then, because what is Sanatana Dharma? Because many people I find generally that the idea of dharma is so misconstrued itself. Most people, if you ask them what is dharma itself, they have such a wide variety. They'll say something like ahimsa paramo dharma, or one thing or the other. And actually, yes, that is one aspect of it. But nowadays, the dharma seems accept everybody, and whatever somebody says, that is dharma.
Yes.
Whatever yato mat tato pat, ye dharma nahi hai. This is so. I think for me, it's really I feel very sad when I see that, because it's become now that our own inclinations and desires, that is dharma. That is my dharma. I feel like I want to be a musician. That is my dharma.
Yes.
So if we can clarify what does Sanatana Dharma mean,
Yes.
please?
So for this, just follow what I'm saying very diligently, because if you lose the track, then you may not. In the end, it doesn't make sense. And I think I described this before. Um, how this works is, first let's understand what this. So where do we start? We start from something we know and build upon that, or just accept what we do not know and just keep adding to it. So you keep adding to
Hmm.
again. So let's say we know this. What do we know? We know that there is this existence. There is this reality. Okay. This reality is called jada vastu. Okay. This If this reality existed now, wait, before that, if I ask you for maybe £100, you'll say, no, I'm not giving Dave this £100, but I still have it. So you have potentially, you are able to give me. If I
Hmm.
ask if you £1 billion, then you say, I can't give you because firstly, I don't have it. You can only give me something that you have. If you do not have it,
Hmm.
you cannot give it. So if you look at
Hmm.
the equation, if A plus B equals C must be a subset of A and B in some form, in
Yes.
some potential. Yeah.
Huh.
Just like that, only if there is C within A and B in part, therefore it can give C. So A plus B is equal to C.
Hmm.
Let's assume that there is Srishti which happened at a point of creation. Let's call that Big Bang 14 billion years ago.
Whatever
Now,
you want.
whatever, it doesn't matter. The number is arbitrary. It doesn't really matter. Okay.
Or whether you call it Big Bang or,
Yes,
Brahma,
Srishti,
Om, or
yes,
whatever.
Pralayam, and then after that, whatever you call it, doesn't matter. That
Yeah.
point. If this Srishti exists in this material form now, it could not have come from nothing. It could not have been there is nothing and then suddenly there is Srishti. That means this
Hmm.
Prakriti, this Jada Vastu must have always existed, must have existed before in some form.
Mhm.
So this is called Nityam. It has always existed. Nityatvam, Sarvakala Vartitvam, Nityatvam, Sarvakala. In the वर्तमान काल, भविष्य काल, भूतकाल, सभी कालों में उपस्थित है. उसको नित्य कहा जाता
Hmm.
है. तो
Yes.
ये सृष्टि से पहले भी ये दिस फॉर्म ऑफ एनर्जी एग्जिस्टेड, और सृष्टि के पश्चात भी वही है. ठीक है. Now there's interconversible of mass, right? So let's call that matter. The matter is converted to energy and matter in some form or another. E equals mc square. You increase the velocity of a matter, the square of the speed of light, you'll get. Now that means this matter must have also always existed in form of energy or not. Let's call that chitta. Sorry, let's call that achitta. Okay.
The
Now
matter is achitta.
the matter converted to energy, back and forth, whatever you call it, but this material existence which does not have its own mind. Now this material existence takes a form in some form or another, and it is not random because you recognize it. I recognize this to be a pen. If this were just matter which is random, then I cannot recognize it to have a form. But because there is a form to this, I say there is a name and say it's a pen. So there is knowledge. There is a knowledge factor in this achitta, okay, which it gives it a form, gives the planets. There's a motion of the earth. There is water. There is a system. The water works. It's cold mostly, and when you drink it, it does something. There is a knowledge system at play. There is this physical body.
Yes.
There is a knowledge system at play here. Now that must also have existed before the Big Bang, before that point of creation. It could not have been created after, because A plus B equals C, and if C is that knowledge factor, it must be a subset of A and B.
So the origin.
Before the origin,
Yes.
this also must have existed. Now let's call this Vedam. Now, the observable universe is that I observe this. I observe the form which has this knowledge of this achitta vastu, the jada vastu. So there is that which observes this achittam.
Right.
Now, because I exist now, I must exist before the creation as well. And that also must be nityam. Okay.
Yes.
So there is something called abhava. So that means before they made this pen, better example, before I came at this session here, I have never come at any live session, never come at any session before. So there is a non-existence of my existence in any live sessions with Kishori Janiji. That is called abhava, a non-existence. Yes. So if I have never come and I am coming now, that is called pragabhava. If I have come by the end of this and let's assume that I never come after this, then at the end of this session, after I go, I will never come. Now there is pradvamsa bhava. There is a non-existence of my existence after this session, or after my death, after the death of this physical body, I will never be born again in this physical body, in this kalpa anyway. So there is a pradvamsa bhava. So nitya is what? Praga bhava pratyogitve sati pradvamsa bhava pratyogitvam nityatvam. There is no praga bhava, there is no pradvamsa bhava. It has always existed at all points in time and every time. These three tattvas. The Vedam, which gives the form through the Vedam of the Sankalpa of the Vedam, gives the form of this Achitta, the Chitta which observes that. And there are many Chitta. When Chitta come together with Achitta, with that Vedam, that entity is called Ishvara or Paramachetana. That is called Bhagavan.
Okay.
Now,
so let me. No. I need to summarize, because let me just. So far, so good. Okay. So you're trying to just define eternality, from what I understand, because I feel like English doesn't have the right words.
Yes.
To just say eternal. No. Okay. I mean, because a lot of people must be. Yeah. So. Because English just has one word, like infinite or eternal, but actually what you're describing as abhava is something that the non-existence of it, meaning it never existed up until now.
No, never not existed. It has never not existed. Yes, that is a double negative actually. Abhava is a double negative. So ऐसा कभी समय था ही नहीं जब वो थे नहीं.
हाँ.
कभी ऐसा काल नहीं था जब हमारा अस्तित्व नहीं था आत्मा का. ठीक है. हमारा अस्तित्व नित्य है. हम पहले भी थे, अभी भी हैं और आगे भी रहेंगे. और ये ध्वंस नहीं हो सकता, ये प्रध्वंस नहीं हो सकता. This cannot be broken down. Atma is nityam. You cannot change it from one form to another. It remains the way it is. Okay.
Yes.
Now this is eternal. Nityam. This nityatvam is a very good understanding. We must understand this. There is no point of creation of these three entities. These are called tattvas. We'll understand this tattva later if you want. We can get into this.
So when Prakriti, Jivatma, Prakriti, and obviously
Prakriti and Ishvara.
Or Paramatma. Same thing?
Paramatma. Yes, Ishvara. Yeah. Paramatma is para yasyasa paramatma. There is a meaning. There is a different meaning to it, referring to the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And Ishvara means Aishwarya Shadakshwarya Yukta Ishvara. So that's also Paramatma.
Yes. Okay. So because I think where I'll just share where I used to get stuck, because the idea of something that never existed, never not existed, the idea of something that never not existed puzzled me until I realized that actually in the spiritual realm, there is no such, it's akala. There's no origin. There's no like starting point. There is origin, but there's no starting point and ending point, because we are in the material world. There's kala, there's time. Time pervades everything. So there's a beginning and then there's an end. So our brain can't fully comprehend what it means to be nitya.
Yes. Yes.
To not have a big bang as such. We're so
no. There must have been a big bang. Nobody disagreeing. Srishti has happened, and Srishti will happen again and again.
Yes.
But the basic tenets of it, the basic forms, those tattvas have always remained. There is no point where those tattvas didn't. They change form.
Yes.
They change form. So there is this Srishti, the four-headed Brahma, Chaturmukhi Brahma. Then there is the next Brahma, which is going to be Hanumanji. There's going to be another Brahma. There are going to be many Brahmas. The infinite. How infinite is Bhagavana? Bhagavana is so infinite that he only doesn't know. Because if he knew, that would limit his infinite. So he'll become finite. So Bhagavana himself cannot know if he's infinite. That's how infinity is. The Vedam tried to understand how much love is there in this Bhagavana, how much Anandam is there, how big is he? So the Vedam tried to go to the ends of this universe. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasa iti Vedanushasana. And then they came back and they realized that there is no end. I can't find an end. I don't want to get lost. So they came back apparently. So that is the idea of his Nityatvam, Anantatvam. Again, these are qualities of Bhagavana as well. Of course, the qualities of Jivatma as well in some form. There are some qualities of Jivatma.
Yes, similar. Ananda. Yeah.
No. Now again, that's slightly different, because when you explain Sat Chit Anandam, that you're talking about a different Satyatvam there. and different chitta there. That chitta is slightly different. It is talking about higher intellect.
Okay.
And this chitta is
Well,
talking
maybe
about
semantics.
yes,
Acha.
maybe, yes.
Okay, so coming back to your original point, we're trying to understand what is Sanatana Dharma,
Yes.
and you're saying that you're trying to help us understand that there is no beginning, end, or middle ground for these.
I will tell you now. Now you'll understand Sanatana.
Acha.
Now this Jivatma does not know that Paramatma, because even though there is Jivatma and then there is Prakriti, when they come together, that is Paramatma in that same body. The body of Paramatma is Jivatma and Prakriti. Jivatma comes in communion with Prakriti, and using Prakriti as a medium understands Paramatma.
Okay, yes, I can understand the concept of that.
The path to understand Paramatma with the communion of Prakriti is called Sanatana Dharma.
Okay, let's unpack
Why is
that
it
a little bit
Sanatana?
more.
Yes. Why is it Sanatana? Because Jivatma is Nitya. Paramatma is Nitya. Prakriti is Nitya. Therefore, the path to attaining Paramatma should also be Nitya. So that's why it is Sanatana. There is no beginning.
Achha.
And there is no end. Why do we know that? So if you are saying that Jivatma is Nitya, then how do Corona and so on, so many people are losing their lives? That is the tarka. If people are dying, you can see when somebody is born, you say, Chotu was born, and then somebody dies in another time, and then you're happy sometimes, sad another time. So why is that happening? So what Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says is Vasamsi jiranani yatha vihaya navani grihanati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jiranani yanyani sanyati navani dehi. Vasamsi jiranani. Yeah. So just like we wear new clothes and then throw away tattered old ones, just like that, the Jivatma takes on new bodies and throws them off. And the Jivatma, why doesn't Jivatma get old? Why is it? What is the nature of Jivatma? Achedyo yamadahyo yamakledyo shoshe evacha nitya sarvagata sthanur achaloyam sanatana. And that means it cannot be cut because it's so small. If you want to penetrate something, that penetrating object should be smaller than that which is penetrating. And the Atma is very small. So you cannot burn it. It's so small. How small? Balasya satabhagasya satadha kalpitasya cha. If you take one strand of hair, take the tip of that hair, you cut it into 100 pieces, you take one piece, and then shatadha, and then whatever is remaining, Jivatma is smaller than even that. Now, because this is
10,000.
Yes. I think it's like 10 to the power 9, and then one out of that 10 to the power minus 12, I think. Smaller than that. So
yeah.
Now, that is Sanatana. It must be eternal, the pathway to attaining Bhagavana. Okay. Now, what is Dharma? Now, is Dharma religion? Now, I did go down to the Oxford Dictionary to see what religion means. And what I found was, it comes from the Latin word, religare or religio, which basically means bondage, obligation, apparently. It comes from the word means obligation. So, is it Dharma religion? No. Dharma is trying to remove you from bondage. If you're calling Sanatana religion, then you are bound by this. You're trying to remove from bondage. Dharma is not religion. What is Dharma then? Your Dharma is to attain Bhagavana. That is Dharma. Oh, the Dharma of what?
I'm going to repeat that. Our Dharma is to attain the shelter, the lotus feet of Bhagavan.
That is Dharma. And because to attain the lotus feet cannot have a time's constraint. You can attain it at any point in this world. And because it is Nitya, Dharma is Nitya. Therefore, Sanatana Dharma is Nityam. And what should we do with this Sanatana Dharma? First and foremost, you must protect it, because that will protect you. So in the Manusmriti, you mentioned Manusmriti, so I'll specifically quote from it. Dharma eva hato hanti dharmo rakshati rakshitah tasma dharmo hantavyo mano dharmo hato vadhit. This has also been quoted by Yudhishthira in the Mahabharata. Bhima is doing tarka with Yudhishthira, and he's saying, we have been here for 14 days now in the forest, and I hate it. I'm not getting enough food, and we must go back. And he's trying to convince Yudhishthira to go back, because only if he agrees, everyone can go back. So the tarka he gives is, we have been here for 14 days, and you have been whining every day that every day is like a year for you. So then the 14 days must be 14 years. So now we are already done. Let's go back. And that's when Yudhishthira tells Bhima this shloka. He says that we must protect this dharma, and therefore it will protect us. And it did. In the Mahabharata Yuddha, they did win because the same dharma protected them as well. Who is dharma? Krishnam dharmam sanatanam. That Krishna only protected it, because that is Sanatana Dharma is Krishna. So what is Sanatana Dharma? Krishnam dharmam sanatanam. There is nothing else. That is the dharma.
Wow.
That is Sanatana
Wow.
Dharma, with what I understand.
This is really, really powerful stuff, because it really just, takes away all the noise about what we think dharma is. It is not bondage. I really appreciate that point, because I find that most of Hindus look upon the Vedic wisdom as something that will limit our enjoyment, limit our experience of Prakriti, limit our, it's all full of rules and regulations. So we find that it is binding, but it is the opposite. This wisdom, dharma, is what liberates us. Dharma is meant to be something that removes this bondage, removes this limitation upon our experience of life. So really appreciating that point, and appreciating that the goal of dharma is to attain this, regain this eternal relationship with the supreme person. There is a supreme person.
Yes,
I think a lot of, क्योंकि ये भी है कि वेदांत में, you can get lost in this whole idea that Brahman is just energy, the supreme is just energy, he's that also, but that is not just what he is.
Yes. He cannot be, na? You cannot have. You are saying he is unimaginably unlimited. How can you limit him to one form? That's it. That's the end of it. If you are telling me that he's unlimited, how can there be only one way to reach him, number one? And how can he be only in one form? Then he's not unlimited. He's limited by that formlessness. And if he's limited, then he's a limited entity. Why do you pray to him? Then it's a useless thing. So then he's obviously not limited. He must be unlimited. And if there is unlimited, then he must have unlimited forms. And there must be unlimited ways to attain him. We are just saying this is our way of attaining him. You attain your way. This is our way.
Yes, this is our way. So that is the beauty about how you might say Vishishta Advaita Vedanta, or how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes it, achintya bheda. Right? So in the sense that there are unlimited ways, but there is also limited ways, meaning in the sense that the Jivatma is exactly the same as Paramatma, but at the same time is different. In the sense, the qualitatively one, quantitatively different. So similar and different at the same time.
Yes.
It's beautiful because the Vedanta philosophy, it has unlimited variety. At the same time, it is very much monotheistic in one sense.
Yes,
so people get very confused. People confuse हो जाते कि नहीं सब यतो मत ततो पथ वेदांत में ही लिखा है, देख लो.
Correct.
All paths lead to him. So if we can maybe clarify this, because the material inclination, usually I find that the agyanata, usually it forces us to make everything the same, kind of like chalega, sab kuch chalega. All paths are equal. All opinions are equally relevant. And it is there in our Vedas.
Just because all paths lead to God doesn't mean all paths are equal. That's a logical fallacy. Some parts are better than others, and at different times. See, one path is good to go to the university in the day because it's short, but in the night I will never use that path because the street lights aren't there. So I'll use another path, and that is the best way to go in the night.
Yes.
For me, I will use one path to go. For somebody else, they will use another path. Does not mean all of them are equal. They're not equal. Nobody is saying they're equal. Sarva dharma samma bhavana means to have equanimity in terms of thought with all dharma. Doesn't mean they are equal. There is a difference. Okay, so don't think that all dharmas are equal. No. With every time and every moment there are differences, but they will eventually lead. And whichever is best for you, you go ahead with it. I'm not forcing you to come here. Don't bother with me because I'm not going to come anywhere else. But here I'm going to remain here. That's the way it is. That's all one needs to understand. And moreover, there is too much of background noise now. That's what I said about directionality. It's very important. There is too much background noise. Am I a man? Am I a woman? Am I this dharma? What is my dharma? What should I do? What should I read? Where should I be? Which temple should I go? Who should I listen to? This is all background noise. This is unnecessary. Which is most important, we'll understand that first. And then which are lesser important things, we'll understand it as and when. So that is the way to approach Sanatana. Anyway, you are asking something, and then I'll go ahead.
I just feel that so even I find it very difficult to explain this to people, because obviously the ultimate goal is to attain Bhagavan. That is the ultimate dharma. And
Yes.
in that mood, we think bhakti is,
One way.
because Krishna says the easiest way to attain me, yogina abhisarvesham madgaten antaratmanah.
Yes.
Right? So he's explaining that out of all the paths, out of all the yogas,
yes,
the greatest path is the one who meditates on me and worships me within his mind.
Correct.
all the time. He's saying this, right? He's saying antaratmanah shraddhavan bhajate yomam sameyukta tamomatah. So he's saying that is the greatest path. So there is a difference. He's saying all this. He's giving dhyana yoga, karma yoga, ashtanga yoga, everything. He's giving all the paths, but he's saying that out of all of them, one is the easiest, one is the best. So this point about, again, Vedanta philosophy, the Vedas accepts everybody. It accepts everyone's limitations, everyone's strengths, weaknesses, differences, the variety. The variety is unlimited, and we must accept it. We must accept it in each other, like you're saying, to have this equanimity of thought. Okay, everybody is a part and parcel of the Supreme Person, and God is accepting everybody, so we must accept everybody. But that doesn't mean everything is the same.
That's
does
the
not
mistake.
mean everything is the same.
Yes.
So I'm also finding it difficult to explain to people that how to understand the differences, then how to appreciate, why should we recognize the difference? Because what's happening is, if you just say, it's so much easier to say everyone is the same. Chalega abhi usko karna to sab same hai. It's easier to say that, because then you don't have to kind of take responsibility of the different paths. Bhakti seems easy, but it's actually very difficult to do. So
very difficult.
Very difficult. My question to you is to understand the hierarchy of dharma, because we think to attain the Sanatana Dharma seems very simple. We must attain the Supreme Person, and you might think, oh, bhakti is so easy, but you still have to do all of your dharmas to attain that path. So how to understand when dharma comes into place? Like now I'm talking about the varnashram dharma, jati dharma, kula dharma, like your brahmana dharma, my stri dharma. How does that interplay? Because there seems to be a hierarchy. Like you were just saying, how should we understand? How do we act?
So first, that's what. Now the directionality will let's discuss that. What is most important? It's not important whether I'm Brahmana, if I'm Kshatriya, Vaishya. It's not important whether you are Stri, you are Purusha, because you are Atma in the end. So the first importance is, what are we doing? So in the Harita Samhita, there is a beautiful shloka which we'll understand this in a moment. Prapyasya brahmano rupam praptuscha pratyagatmanah praptipayam phalam prapti tatha prapti virodhicha vadanti sakala vedaha setihasa puranakaha punayasya mahatmana veda vedanta parakaha. It goes on to say, Devadanti Mahatmanam Krishnam Dharmam Sanatanam. That's where it comes from. Now, what does this mean? If you are studying a grantha, what should I study? So the first question one will ask is, if I am a Sanatani, I am a Varnashrama Dharma follower, I am a Hindu, what is my text, primary text? My primary text is the Vedam. If anybody asks, you should say unequivocally, and this is an equanimous understanding amongst the acharyas, the primary text is the Vedam. Where is the Mool Jnanam? Where the main part of the Vedam of Brahma Jnanam and so on is Vedanta. So Vedanta Jnanam, Upanishad Pramanam. Upanishad are the Vedanta, and then Brahma Sutras and so on, and Bhagavad Gita is called Gitopanishad. इतिहास पुराणाभ्याम वेद समुपब्रह्मयेत। वेद को समझाने के लिए इतिहास और पुराण का सहायता लिया गया है। सो इतिहास और पुराण वेद का ही ज्ञान प्रज्वलित करते हैं। So to understand, so what does any grantha need? But again, you are saying that Veda is the main, but then I'm saying, Itihas and Purana, because in the Purana also it says Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam.
Yes.
Kalpa, Nigama Ved को कहा गया है। निगम कल्पतरोर गलितम फलम सुखमुखाद अमृत द्रव संयुतम पिबत भागवतम रसमालयम. So the essence of the Vedam, the ripened fruit of the Vedas is the Bhagavatam, which is the Purana, Bhagavad Purana. Now, in each of these granthas, what is there? प्राप्यस्य ब्रह्मणो रूपम, परतत्व क्या है उसको उजागृत करता है कोई भी ग्रंथ, उसको वो पढ़ने योग्य है। कौन सा ग्रंथ पढ़ने योग्य है? ये जो यह करता है वह ग्रंथ पढ़ने योग्य है। प्रथम, प्राप्यस्य ब्रह्मणो रूपम. Let's take an example of the Ramayana. प्राप्यस्य ब्रह्मणो रूपम. कौन है ब्रह्मण रूप? ब्रह्म के रूप राम. प्राप्यस्य, जिसको प्राप्त किया जाता है, ब्रह्म रूप राम. प्राप्तुश्च प्रत्यगात्मनः, कौन प्राप्त करता है उसको भी उजागृत करता है वह ग्रंथ, जीवात्मा. भरत, शत्रुघ्न और लक्ष्मण. Who is the biggest devotee of each of them? I'll tell you a story after this. Anyway, then प्राप्तुश्च प्रत्यगात्मनः. प्राप्तिपायम फलम, उपाय. भगवान को प्राप्ति करने क्या है उपाय? रामायण के आधार पर शरणागति. महाभारत में ज्यादातर भक्ति योग में कहा गया, परंतु वहां भी शरणागति है. कौन सा? ओम नमो भगवते तस्मै यते तचिदात्मकं पुरुषायादि बीजाय परेशाय विधीमहि यस्मिन्निदमदश्चेदं येनेदं ये इदं स्वयं यस्मात् परस्माच्च परस्तं प्रपद्ये स्वयं भुवम्. उसके बाद यस्मात्मनीदं जमायार्तम कचित् विवातम कचित्तिरोहितम अविद्र दीक्षाक्षु वयं तदीक्षते स आत्मवलोतमां परात्परः कालेन पंचत्वमितेषु कृष्णशलोकेषु पालेषु सर्वहेतुषु तमस्त दासित गहनं गभीरं यस्तस्य पारे भी विराजते विभुः. वैसे जाता है, शरणागति हो रहा है यहाँ. गजेंद्र शरणागति पुकार रहे, भगवान को बुला रहे. यत ये तच्चिदात्मकं पुरुषाय आदि बीजाय, आदि बीज को बुला रहे, भगवान श्रीमन नारायण को बुला रहे हैं यहाँ, कोई और देवता को नहीं बुला रहे. शरणागति वहां भी है, परंतु उपाय क्या है? भगवान भगवत प्राप्ति के लिए भागवतम में भक्ति और शरणागति दो दिखाए गए हैं. ये आचार्य वाक्य है. आप हमें पूछ रहे थे, हमें समय होते समय आपको वो श्लोक भी भेज देंगे हम. ठीक है?
अच्छा,
तो भक्ति और शरणागति को उपाय कहा गया है. प्राप्तिपायम फलम, प्राप्ति. और फल क्या है? फल है मोक्ष. और ये मोक्ष फल को प्राप्ति करने के लिए इसका विरोधी क्या है? तथा प्राप्ति विरोधी च, उसको भी उजागृत करना चाहिए ग्रंथ को.
Right.
विरोधी क्या है? अहंकार, ममकार. Yes, what are the obstacles to attaining this goal? These are also very important. What do I want to attain? Who is attaining it? You must know that. How will I attain it? You must know. What am I getting out of this attainment? You must know. And what is stopping me from attaining it? All these 5 things. Artha panchaka. ये पंच अर्थ को if you understand, that will lead to moksham. ये 5 चीज जानना आवश्यक है. यन्न भारते तन्न भारते. महाभारत में जो कुछ नहीं है वो कहीं विश्व भारतवर्ष में नहीं है. जो महाभारत में वो सब जगह है. महाभारत पढ़ो, कोई भी एक ग्रंथ लो और उसका अध्ययन करो, और आचार्य अभिमान अति उत्तम. जैसे अब देखते हैं, ये भागवत की बात करते हैं तो लिखा कौन है उन्होंने? ये वेद व्यास जी ने लिखा, पर निवेद व्यास को उपदेश दिया है नारद जी ने.
Right.
नारम ददाति.
I'm going to just say the English as well, just because many people are listening, right?
Am I speaking in Hindi now?
It's okay. It's wonderful. Wonderful. Please continue. So you're saying that obviously we have to choose the granthas carefully. It cannot, but choose one and then dedicate your time and energy into it, and focusing on who is writing this grantha. Veda Vyasa is telling Narada.
No, Narada is telling Veda Vyasa. Narada is telling Veda Vyasa.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
नारद उपदेश देते हैं ना, जैसे प्रहलाद को भी दिया था, ध्रुव को भी दिया, ऐसे ही वेद व्यास को भी उपदेश देते हैं. क्या देते हैं? नारम ददाति इति नारदः. नारम ज्ञानम ददाति. क्या देते हैं? ज्ञान देते हैं. कौन सा ज्ञान? ब्रह्म ज्ञान. वरना क्या करते हैं? नारम अज्ञानम द्यति खंडति इति खंडयति इति नारदः. जो अज्ञान का खंडन करते हैं उनको भी नारद कहा गया है. और ये नारद आके ब्रह्म ज्ञान देते हैं. कारुण्यात् शास्त्र प्राणिना. भगवान हम पर करुणा वो करते हैं, और he showers us with affection and he feels sorry,
Mercy.
and then शास्त्र रूपी हाथ से संसार में
Just one
डूबे
second.
हुए, it's okay.
One second. I'm so sorry. You continue. I'm. One second. Baba will help you. So sorry. Yes. So I'm here.
It's all right. भगवान शास्त्र रूपी हाथ से संसार में डूबे हुए जीवात्मा का उद्धार के लिए भगवान ने नारद जी को भेजा। नारद जी से व्यास से निमित्त तो चाहिए ना कहीं। सो इसके लिए कौन चाहिए? व्यास जी को भी गुरु चाहिए, तो गुरु की आवश्यकता है। गु शब्द अंधकार स्याद, रु शब्द तन्निरोधक, अंधकार निरोधित्वाद गुरु रिप्यपि दीयते। गुरु क्या है? अंधकार, अज्ञान रूपी अंधकार को हटाकर प्रकाश रूपी ज्ञान देने वाले को गुरु कहा गया है।
In English a little bit, because
yes, gu means that अंधकार स्याद, अंधकार को हटाकर, oh sorry, a person who removes darkness and establishes the light of Brahma Jnanam. What am I saying? Brahma Jnanam. Brahma Jnanam is the knowledge you use through which you attain Bhagavana. That's all. Okay. Even Sharanagati is a Brahma Jnanam, because then the knowledge that you need to attain Sharanagati is there. So that must also be Brahma Jnanam. So that's what I'm talking about. A guru उसी ज्ञान को स्थापित करते हैं, उन्हीं को गुरु कहा गया है। अब कौन है गुरु? क्योंकि see, we are talking about the directionality. We are trying to limit ourselves to the main things first. Then you go about all the, jati pratha and all that you discuss after that. You discuss later. Today, what you need to know that you have to attain Bhagavana. You are the Jivatma. Jivatma is attaining Paramatma. How do I do that? Through the Vedam. I can't understand the Vedam, so I study the Shastram. But by myself, I can't study the Shastra. I need a Guru. Now, who is a Guru? Achino च शास्त्रार्थान। कैसे होने चाहिए गुरु? मतलब आचार्य कैसे होने चाहिए? आचिनोदित शास्त्रार्थान आचार्य स्थापयत्रपि स्वयमात चरते यस्मात् अस्मात् आचार्य इष्यते। जो आपको आचरण में रहना सिखाए। आचरण क्या? वैदिक आचरण। जो आपको वैदिक आचरण में रहना सिखाए और रहते रहते उसमें आचरण में आपको स्थापित करे, स्वयमात, वो स्वयं भी आचरण में रहे, और जो आपको भागवत ज्ञान शिक्षा दे सके, उन्हीं को आचार्य कहा गया है, जो आपको वो दे सके। तो कैसे रहना चाहिए गुरु के साथ? गुरु के समीप जाना चाहिए, पठन पाठन करना चाहिए। आप गुरु के साथ जाएंगे, पठन पाठन करेंगे, गुरु की सेवा करेंगे और गुरु पर दृढ़ निष्ठा रखेंगे, उसको भागवत अनुभव क्या कहा गया है? आचार्याभिमान। यस, गुरु, उसको आचार्याभिमान कहा गया है। गुरु पर दृढ़ निष्ठा, कुछ छोड़ के सब, गुरु ही हमारे सब कुछ है, आचार्य हमारे सब कुछ है, उसी से ज्ञान की प्राप्ति हो सकती है। आपको छोटा रहना पड़ेगा। हम आएंगे, नहीं हम तो गुरु से ज्यादा जानते हैं, तो क्या जानेंगे, आप तो अज्ञानी हो गए वहीं से। तो तद्विद्धि प्रणिपातेन प्रणिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्ष्यन्ति ते ज्ञानम ज्ञानिनः तत्त्वदर्शिनः। तत्व ज्ञान देते हैं कौन? गुरु को। क्या करना चाहिए? प्रश्न पूछो, प्रश्न पूछते रहो, गुरु की सेवा करो, और आपको नींद आए तब भी आप गुरु की सेवा करो। सबसे छोटा हो, आप जस्ट, भागवत का गुण क्या है कि a person who is able to make himself so small and so irrelevant and yet continue to do his seva. That is a Bhagavat, Mahabhagavat. So इतना छोटा हो सको कि कोई आपको याद ही ना करे, आपको याद ही ना हो। देवनारायण कौन है, याद ही मत करो, सिर्फ क्या बोल रहा है वो सुन लो और भूल जाओ देवनारायण को। वैसा होना चाहिए महाभागवत को। वैसे आपको अपने आचार्य में दृढ़ संकल्प, दृढ़ निष्ठा रह के आपको उनका सेवा करना चाहिए। वही आचार्य आपको ब्रह्म ज्ञान देंगे और वही ब्रह्म ज्ञान से ही आपकी मुक्ति होगी।
Yes. So I really
go ahead, finish.
I just want to give a brief recap. So you're explaining the importance about guru, because obviously, like even in life, you need a teacher. Why do we go to school? अगर सारा ज्ञान अगर शास्त्र में दिया गया है और हम अपने आप पढ़ के कर सकते, तो फिर कोई क्वेश्चन ही नहीं रहता, लेकिन आप कह रहे थे निमित्त कोई होना चाहिए. There should be some kind of medium. There's a reason why God and the Jivatma doesn't interact automatically in all phases. There's a medium. There's somebody who must bring them together, because in general we are covered over by ignorance. We're covered over by the modes and such in Prakriti, but actually we need somebody to carry us through,
Yes.
to give us this the wisdom, not just the knowledge, to actually what is to enlighten us from within. So you're explaining the importance of guru, and who is guru. Guru is one who actually follows the acharan, the practices that are actually described in the
ऐसा भी
Vedas.
होता है ना, यू सी सो मेनी गुरुज नाउडेज, गुरु कहते हैं सब, पर है गुरु नहीं ना, क्योंकि वो आचरण में नहीं रहते. वैदिक आचरण, यहाँ आचरण किसको कहा गया है? वैदिक आचरण, उसको आचरण कहा गया है यहाँ. वैदिक आचरण में रहना, क्योंकि दिस इज लाइक द वेदम इज लाइक अ मैनुअल. सो इफ यू आर डूइंग सॉल्ट एनालिसिस, यू फॉलो द मैनुअल, you will get the result. If you in chemistry, if you don't follow the manual, then you say, okay, fine, ठीक है, potassium permanganate चला रहे हैं, let me go back, let me look at the atom, let me look at the quarks, gluons, the bosons, and then okay, they are making it now, I'll rediscover the potassium permanganate, I'll rediscover chlorine, I'll rediscover everything, I'll rediscover this pipette and burette, and then I'll rediscover water also, because now you must do everything. You must understand which is water, which is not water, what is distillation, everything. Then do it, or just follow the manual, easier. So Vedam is like that, manual. Following it is easier, and if you don't follow it, you're well and good, but then that's the way it is. You're not going to get the result at the right time. It'll take more time. We don't have that much time, so that's the idea.
And it's almost arguable that you may not receive the result, because the manual is there for a reason. Like there's a whole bunch of history there that has gone into it. It cannot be attained by just one person. That's why it's apaurushaya, like you were saying.
Apaurushaya. It is not somebody who has written it.
And it's
because
not,
we remember. Go ahead.
We cannot actually manifest that within ourselves. That knowledge cannot just be,
some
gotten.
Some can, very few. So some will be able to. That they are called rishi. Rishi means that who can re-manifest the knowledge of the Vedam and re-establish that Vedam for the people. Like Vedvyasa brought in the Vedam, wrote it in a Rishi, Maharshi. Yeah,
oh, well,
you can re-establish. So
they're not human beings. They're empowered.
Yes, but it's Amshavadaras, but they're still physically human. They have yoga shakti and so on. So they'll really live in Tapaloka. They will not live in, right now he's not on earth probably. He's staying in Tapaloka until next kalpa. Then he'll again descend. So he can control, and the body may not be made up of Mishra Sattva, it's made up of Shuddha Sattvam. So then there's no vikara, it doesn't become old.
It's not a human.
Maybe. No.
Yes.
He's born as a human only. He's born like a human being.
What I mean is, you're saying he's empowered. He's an Amshavatara. Amshavatara is not a normal human, of course.
Yes, okay.
He takes a human form.
No, but there are yogis. There are yogis who will be able to who can derive the Veda. There are people who will not come to the normal. They don't need the knowledge really. They reach the communion. Once they reach, they'll leave the body and they'll attain. So there are some people, very few will be there, because if there is a possibility, then there is a probability. You see, because it is infinite, there is a possibility, and because there is a possibility, there must be a probability. But it is so low. We're trying to use the probability theorem, right? What is the most probable and what is most possible for us? So the probability of me attaining moksham through bhakti or sharanagati is a far more than me attaining moksha through dhyana yoga. Something of the kind, much more. And
I
that's
agree.
the idea.
Okay, so I appreciate that point, that it might be possible, but the probability is so infinitesimal that
yes, it is small.
That is why very small. So that is why bhakti, especially for Kali Yuga.
Satya Yuga, they would be able to. Satya Yuga, Dhyana Yoga, generally Raja Yoga, directly go.
Yes. So coming back to our original point was that needing a guru, right? And coming back to the even point before that is understanding what was this hierarchy in dharma. That's what I was interested in, because it seems that the goal is clear, at least for me and other spiritual practitioners, we want to achieve the supreme goal. Some call it moksha, but there's even within moksha, there's so many different types of moksha. So we were discussing this moksha, and there's a difference between moksha and
Alokya, that is so, and then the Kaivalya moksha and Sayujya moksha that we're talking about.
yes.
Kevala moksha is slightly different. Because Kevala moksha, apparently from what I understand from what my acharyas have said, Kaivalya mukti, Kevala moksha is Atma Anubhava, so attaining the Atma. Because they are saying Atma is only Brahman, they attain the Atma.
And so like kind of merging in with the Brahma Jyoti, Kaivalya.
Yes, okay, but that they're saying that is only Atma, no? But we are saying Atma and Brahma are different. So we are trying to realize the Atman, attain the Brahman. They're trying to realize the Atman and remain with that glory, which is also, there is also Anandam in that. And that is called Kaivalya. Okay. So there are differences slightly. Then again, Sayujya, Samipya, Salokya, and so on are there. There are some subtle differences. But in the end, moksha means from Leela Vibhuti to getting into Tripada Vibhuti. That is called moksha.
From the manifest world into the spirit, like the material world into the spiritual world.
No,
coming out of the material.
No. Vaikuntham is also material, just made up of different material. So
I think I'm using Srila Prabhupada's language. I think what you are specifying is that material in the sense that it's manifest. That we are not saying there's just nothing. Yeah. So there's just a slight difference in semantics. When I say material world, I mean the one that is covered over by the modes of nature. That is material. Okay. It has a jnana. It has illusion. It has maya. So obviously God's Krishna's Prakriti itself, energy itself is like we were talking about. There's Antaranga Shakti and then there's Bahiranga Shakti. There's this material energy and there's spiritual energy. So coming out from this material realm in the sense that obviously spiritual realm is also manifest. There's materiality to it, meaning there is a place, there is a dharma, there is also lila there, but it's all Vishuddha Sattvam. It is not.
Yes,
it is not.
Yes, it is not bound by. Firstly, Kala doesn't work. That is called Sattva Shunya. That means there is time, but it doesn't work. कार्य नहीं करता. जो तत्व में कार्य नहीं करता, तो विकार उत्पन्न नहीं होता है. यहाँ मिश्र सत्व है, मतलब रजस तमोगुण भी है. ये तमोगुण रजोगुण के कारण विकार उत्पन्न होता है. तो यहाँ जो जड़ वस्तु है, इसमें विकार उत्पन्न. विकार means it changes from one form to another. Yeah. So if I have a cup, I leave this cup, and in a few 100,000 years, if I don't break it, it'll break by itself anyway. Entropy kicks in. So from a more distinct state to a less, and that's what it is. And so in this world,
moksha coming.
Yes, to moksha. Go ahead. You have something, or should I continue?
Well, I was just saying that for the purposes of moksha, what Srila Prabhupada is describing is that getting out of this material realm, in the sense that, and then moving to the spiritual. That is the distinction, because even though there's a material manifestation, when I say material, there is a manifestation in the spiritual world. Yes. Meaning there are but getting out of this material world, the samsara chakra, then there can be many.
We use the word spiritual, but the spiritual comes from spirit. We don't have any spirit in Sanatana Dharma. So that's why I don't use it. It's okay. As long as we know what we are referring to, it's fine. Like we use soul for Jivatma, which is not soul, because the soul is again referring to something else. That entity which has knowledge is referred to as soul. But that is not what we are talking about. Atma is the ashraya of knowledge, because that's the reason why the animals do not have ashraya, because they don't have that kind of knowledge, that higher chitta that we have. Then they won't have a soul, and that's the understanding made for you to eat. It's not so, because they have a jivatma. Yes, so we don't say soul.
Let me clarify that, because I think we're going into what we had spoken about. So let's expand on that, because you're saying that the Christian ideology of soul, they say that animals don't have a soul because they don't have conscious recognition that this is. They cannot recognize that I am.
So they will know I am. Every entity will know I am.
Yes.
But from there they won't know. So it is only now.
What am I supposed to do? That there's a supreme person that I have to. So that is a slight difference, maybe, because they have now you're looking at the word soul from a Christian perspective.
Yes.
But if you just look at the word soul as a spirit, just your Atman. We can choose to define it this way. But
See, that's why
but
you see rest in peace, no? Because
uh,
we don't rest in peace. Nowadays, when people die, they say RIP. We don't rest. The body is gone, it is going to deteriorate. The Atma will go get another body and it'll be born again, or it'll attain moksha. Or it will be remain as Pret. It's not going to rest at all there. So there is no resting.
mhm,
So these are misconceptions.
mm,
We must try and avoid it completely. So to understand the
mhm,
theology to its finest. And for that, I don't use these words just because Atma. What is Atma? Apnoti iti Atma. That which is wants, it will complete. Whatever it desires, it will fulfill. So the moment you stop desiring, the Atma will stop desiring, because there is nothing to desire, there is no need for a body, then it will attain moksha. That is the understanding of the word Atma. Now, when I say soul, how does it understand this? So you see, the importance
mhm.
of the word is also it's there. Like, say when I say Tattvam, what is Tattvam? What does Tattva? Tat Shabda, what does it define? Say Paramatma, it is referring to Paramatma. Tasya bhavaha tvam, Tattvam. Tasya bhavaha tattvam. So what is Paramatma now? What is the meaning of the word Paramatma? I forgot. Paroma yasya sa Paramatma. Okay, Paroma yasya sa Paramatma, which does not have anything greater than or equal to. That is Paramatma. You see, now when I say God, I don't know what I'm saying. Who is God? What am I trying to refer to? I'm not trying to undermine anything or anybody. It's a limited
No,
language and I
I
completely agree.
appreciate I appreciate these the Sanskrit terms have so much more depth and meaning that doesn't get recognized when just automatically, like a machine gets an English word to it. So I appreciate what you're trying to say, that there are more layers to
And it will
the word
help you.
Atman.
It'll help you. It'll help you understand it better. Because when you say Ishwara, Shad Aishwarya Yukta Ishwara, Shad Aishwarya से युक्त है, उनको ईश्वर कहा गया है. Shad Aishwarya क्या है? अब जानते हैं फिर another time. उसको शब्द धातु is very important for us in every form. जब जैसे इनसे वषटकार का तात्पर्य क्या है? वषटकार जो हम अंत करना, आत्मा जीवात्मा के अंदर अंतर्यामी रूप से हमें who control us, that is called वषटकार. So each of these words have a very deep meaning, and it has and it is made up of specific dhatus, and they come together to form this meaning. And if we try and understand that, that will only give you moksha. Every time somebody says Kishori, किशोर अवस्था में रहने वाले, हर समय किशोर अवस्था में. किशोर मतलब innocent what, because of love. Every time देव नारायण, नारायण भगवान, नारायण तो इतना ऐसा शब्द है, ऐसा करते हैं कि when he made water comes back to that entity, is called Narayana. Then Ramanuja, Rama Anuja, Ram के अनुजा कौन थे? लक्ष्मण है, लक्ष्मण भगवान. तो हाँ ऐसे, you see, every time we call somebody, if we start understanding what it means, then we will be in a better position in a spiritually also. Devi, every time we say Dasi, so Devnarayan Srinivasa, Ramanuja, Dasa. I'm not Devnarayan Srinivasa, just because it's a short name, I'm keeping it. Devnarayan Srinivasa, Ramanuja. These are not my name. I am their Dasa. So I have the Dasa from there. That is my name. I'm the Dasa. But if I just say Dasa, you'll realize there are so many Dasas nowadays that you want to understand it. So you say Srinivasa Dasa. Who's Dasa? Srinivasa. Who's Ramanuja Srinivasa Dasa? That's like that. If we start understanding it in this way, the Shabda, how we understand, it makes things much more clearer in our minds. And the clarity is what we require. That is the directionality. As long as we are clear, if there are too many things in our mind, just push them aside. If somebody is telling you, Sanatana Dharma is that, this, that, forget all that. That will come later. Then we will discuss. After you are understanding this dhatu and then you are in a Brahma Jnani state, then we'll discuss, what is Varna Ashrama Dharma, what is Ashrama, what are Varna, what is Jati, what is all this. We'll discuss then. These are inconsequential right now. Because we don't have time. We are going to die very soon. Look at the state we are in now. We only have a few days, a few months, few years to survive, to understand Bhagavana. And that also we are wasting discussing time, which is unnecessary. Then we understand that. Now, if there is, if somebody is undermining somebody, if there is discrimination and so on, yes, that is the first thing. We must ensure that discrimination doesn't happen. But it's just a matter of debate and argument. I think it's more well spent if you talk about Bhagavana. And if everybody is talking about Bhagavana, where is discrimination? Everything you see only Bhagavana. Everywhere you see only Bhagavana. That is Bhagavad Prapti.
Okay. So directionality, I like what you're trying to stress here, that all the other dharmas can only be understood once you've understood your true paramo dharma, your true
Yes.
Sanatana Dharma. Then I also agree, Srila Prabhupada says this again and again, that once you become a bhakta, a Vaishnava in the true sense, then all these other kind of vikaras that we spoke about, they automatically kind of fix themselves. Because once we are connected to the supreme source, then all the other what's the word, the missings, all the things that we are feeling, the lackings in us, they will be compensated by the supreme source.
Yes.
So in a way that,
if you look at it this way, so see, always start from what we know, then move ahead. I don't know how much time you have. I'll try to take a minute. I don't mind, but I
it's
don't know.
okay. It's okay. It's
So,
okay. Let's go on. We'll take for those of you listening. Thank you for being with us. We still have many people, 220 people watching. So maybe at the end, after 5 minutes or so, we'll take some questions. So if you can please post the questions again, because there's been too many here, and I can't follow through. So Devnarayan ji,
fine, fine.
you've got like
Because there's
5
so many.
minutes.
Sorry. There's so many things
No,
to
no,
say
no.
and so little time, and we tend to, it's okay. Let's understand it this way, okay? We know what we know is that what is born must die. We have been talking about that for so long. In the beginning, only I gave you this the shloka, which is talking about birth and death. Did I give?
Yeah.
Did I talk to you about the
Yes.
Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vasansi Jaranani Vitha. Yeah, go on.
Yes. Whatever. No, that is we are dying. But then why are we dying? There are other understandings to it. Yeah. Now, if that which is born must die, everything is dying all the time. If everything is dying, what is the purpose? So why are you scared of dying? That's the final thing, right? You are scared of dying. You don't want to die because either you are scared. Why are you scared? Because you don't know what death is. Because there is a fear of death. Because you don't know what it is, you fear it. Very understandable. And secondly, because you want to attain something still, you don't want to die. If I die, I can't eat a pizza, I can't eat burgers, I can't eat all these lavish things that you have here. I cannot enjoy a nice resort, chill and smoke a cigar. I don't know what you do nowadays. So you can't do that. You see? So then for that you must say, so there is desire. Because to satiate that desire, once you attain that desire, then there is a bondage to that which you had desired. Now bondage, why bondage is not good? Very simply, Buddha, the philosophy is slightly different. He says anityam sarvam anityam, but apart from jiva, we are not in that understanding, but let's assume that is true. So what he's saying is anitya, everything is transitory. It comes and goes, it's transitory, it's not nitya. He's saying anityam sarvam anityam, kshanikam sarvam kshanikam, shunyam sarvam shunyam, dukham sarvam dukham. Everything is transitory and everything kshanika means momentary. It's happening now. But if everything is now, and that is also transitory now, that now also doesn't exist, no, because now also is transitory, which is momentary is also transitory. So therefore everything must be void. It is shunya. There cannot be anything else. There must be void. And everything is sorrow. Every attachment to anything will lead to sorrow, because when you don't get what you desire, that will lead to sorrow. So dukham sarvam dukham. And then he goes on to say there is a way out. Just like that, there is a desire to what you desire, and you must fulfill that. If you fulfill that, you'll lead to another desire. When you don't have something, it'll lead to sorrow. So even if you're happy, after you're happy, the happiness is also limited. Then after you're happy, what are you? You either know nothing or sad, and nobody is nothing nowadays. So you're either happy or sad. So you must be sad, and therefore everybody is in dukkha. If everyone is dukkha, and this world
Srila Prabhupada ji describes happiness is just the slight negation of distress, meaning we are eternally dukkham, but the slight diminishing of distress. Now that is what we're calling happiness. It's a very unfortunate.
Absolutely. So if everything is dukkha, now there are three ways. Do I want to remain in this dukkham or not? So the answer is three: yes, no, and maybe. Because you always have a maybe. If you don't want to answer, you ask maybe. You don't know.
I don't know.
Yes, I don't know. So if you say yes, I want to, I don't mind, because I like the little bit perks of happiness that I get around. Well and good. Stick with it. Just don't hurt or harm anybody. As long as you are under, as long as it is under the purview of dharma, which is you're not harming or hurting anybody or yourself, and allowing the society to function as it is, without discrimination or deterioration. Whatever you do, doesn't matter. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Anyway, dharma, artha is there as long as under the purview of dharma. Continue. Don't have to come into Sanatana Dharma at all. If you say maybe, then maybe study a little bit and come. It is a better way. And if you say I want to come out of this dukkham, then the path to coming out of this dukkham is called Sanatana Dharma.
Let me just repeat that.
Leave it.
Sorry to cut you off. So if you're thinking, no, I like it, मुझे चलेगा, ये जितना इतना सा तुच्छ सुख मिल रहा है, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with this one drop of happiness that you're giving me. I'm okay with it. Most of us are unfortunately in this boat. We think whatever we are experiencing, this level of joy is sufficient for us. It's very unfortunate. That's why we are here in the samsara chakra.
No, but
if you're in that boat,
yes, go ahead. Finish it first. So I'm so sorry. I cut you off.
No, it's okay. So you're saying that as long as it's within the remit of dharma, then you are then Krishna or God allows you, the Supreme Person allows you to remain. If you don't know, and if you're thinking maybe, then you're suggesting, please do some more research. But if you know actually, for sure.
Yes, there is actually, I was going to discuss Brahma Sutra also, but there is no time today. There is a Vaishamyan. There is a sutram in Brahma Sutra. Vyasaji says, Vaishamya Nairghriniena Apekshvatvat. And so does Bhagavana have Vaishamya Apradha, Nairghrinya Apradha? These are two very different things. And which means that is he sadistic basically? Is he partial to some people and is he not partial to others? Just in a brief thing, it is because of karma. So he is not doing it by himself. It is your sankalpa first. If you decide, after decide, he does the rest. So if I decide to eat, he'll make sure everything is happening. If I decide not to eat, he'll allow you. As however strong your sankalpa is, that's how it's going to be. So whatever you think you manifest, that is correct only. That is what that's what this sutram says. I mean, I was going to discuss this in much more depth, but the sankalpa is yours. Your sankalpa is not all Bhagavana, because if Bhagavana is doing everything and making choices also for you, then there is no point of the Vedam, because Vedam are telling you to do something and telling you not to do something. If everything is if in Bhagavana's hand, what's the point of the Veda? They are redundant, but they are not redundant, and therefore you must have that. And Nairghrinya is not there. I cannot give you a choice to eat whatever you want and lock you in a room. There is no choice. How can you eat anything and nothing in the room? So that is not permitted. So what he does is he gives you the choice and allows you to choose. And based on what you have chosen, you get the body, karma janyam. This body is also karma janyam. Okay. And it works like that. So if you want to choose to attain moksha, then once you choose, anyway, the fact that you choose also, they say Bhagavana has nirhetu kripa. Without any hetu, he gives kripa. He uses something as the nimitta always. Your karma only. Because later, if you go and question him, say, how can you give me moksha? I didn't want. You can't say that. So then
there'll always be somebody.
So to counter that, Bhagavana makes sure that using his goodwill only, with his karma only, I've given. This is the law. I've used some good karma of yours and pushed you towards it. Now it is all your sankalpa only. So don't blame me for it. It's all yours. That's what he will say. Okay. When you meet him.
Very powerful.
Okay.
Very, very powerful. So we're talking about, I guess we're touching on the idea of suffering, because people tend to say, why am I suffering? What kind of a sadistic God is he? Why has he created a situation where I will suffer?
Yes.
Or why couldn't he just
create? You only created. He's just doing what you ask him to do. Whatever you want, he's doing it. But it's because of you. That's why you are. If he was the doer of everything, why are you suffering?
Amazing.
If you are suffering and he's doing it, he's sadistic, then there is no God. You don't want to follow him anyway. And if you do like this much of good and this much of bad, if you still attain him, that's a funny thing. You have to ensure that good and bad have to be negated. As long as there is karma, you have to be born, because to work, you cannot have Atma. Atma is nothing. There is barely anything. It's Anu. So you require an association with the body. Association of body can only happen with karma. Now, what should you do? What you should not do is there in the Vedam. If you follow it good, if you should, whatever you want to do, what you should do is called vidhi, like nitya karma. If you want to attain Swarga Loka, like Indra Loka, you do Jyotishtoma Yajna. Okay, if you want to attain children, Putra Kama Ishti or Putri Kama Ishti Yajna. These are yajnas are there, which are mentioned in the Veda. These are called vidhi. If you do the vidhi, you'll get punyam. Like if you don't do, like Sandhya Vandana is a vidhi. Vihita. Okay, if you don't do Sandhya Vandanam, you'll attain papam. And another one is called nishedha. What you should not do is also there in the Vedam, because it's called shashanam, shastram, no, shashanat shastram. It'll tell you what to do, what not to do. So nishedha, if you do what is said not to do, like eating garlic. If you consume garlic and it says not to consume garlic, you will get papam. And if you don't do which it tells you not to do, you will neither attain punyam or papam. Nishiddha akaranam it is called. So you'll neither attain punyam or papam, you will remain just there. And you'll not fall, but you will not rise. You will be held there and then keep pushing yourself up. Like that.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's how the karma works. It takes some more time to explain karma in greater depth.
Of
Karma is
course.
not just action reaction, it is something like that, but there is a lot to it. How Sanchita works and so on. It helps understand, give a broader picture. My
We'll have to do
suggestion is,
another. We'll have to do another proper, session where we kind of tease out all of these ideas. I'm sure we could spend entire days just on this idea of sankalpa itself, that you're saying that the jivatma, our existence is running because of our sankalpa. And I love what you said, that actually God, Krishna, is just facilitating that. He says, ye yatha mam prapadyante. According to our desire to achieve him or achieve any goal in life, he's facilitating. Now that's the beauty of his mercy and his love. People question what kind of a God, but what kind of a God is he? Look at him. You want to be away from him, that is also facilitating. You want to be
you can attain him
against
through
him,
getting angry also. You can hate him also and approve. That's called what is it called? Sambhramba yoga. Sambhramba yoga means you hate him and then you still attain, like like Ravana and so on. Sambhramba yoga. And so you hate him and you'll still attain him, like Ravana, Shishupala,
Kamsa
didn't attain through, he attained through fear.
He
didn't. That's not Sambhrama. He attained through fear. This man, the first guy who came, Narasimha, came to kill whom? Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Yes, Jaya and Vijaya. No, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha.
Through hatred.
Through hatred. He hated so much. He didn't have a time where he did not think of him. So because he could not stop thinking of the man he hated, Vishnu.
Amazing.
He had to come and take
Amazing.
So you can attain
that is the level of God's love. He loves us so much that even when we want something that is against him, he still facilitates.
That's the difference in Sharanagati. So Sharanagati, you are giving that ability to have that self-choice. So when I perform Sharanagati, I'm giving up my ability to think. That's Swatantrata. जो हमारा स्वतंत्र दिया गया है भगवान ने निर्घृण अपराध से मुक्त होने के लिए, वो हम उनको वापस दे रहे हैं. हम बोल रहे हैं आप ही करो, अब हम पूर्ण शरणागत हैं आपके चरण कमल में. तो हमें अब कुछ नहीं चाहिए, हमें सोचना भी नहीं है, हमें सोचना आता भी नहीं है, हमें ना योग करना आता है, ना हम योग कर सकते हैं, ना हमें भक्ति योग करना आता है, और हम उसके सक्षम भी नहीं है. हम सब आपके चरण कमल में छोड़ रहे हैं. अब आप ही हैं हमारे लिए. तत्क्रतु न्याय लगता है, क्योंकि हमने पूर्ण समर्पित किया है. मृत्यु के समय में हमें मोक्ष प्राप्त होगा. इति वेदानुशासनम, शास्त्र कहते हैं.
You're kind of binding him. It's described as binding God with your love, with your surrender. You just surrender everything to him.
Everything.
And he that's his own words. The only thing that can somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, well, your God sounds great. I want to become God. Can you make me God? He asked Srila Prabhupada. I want to become God. Can you make me God? Srila Prabhupada said, no, you come. I'm paraphrasing. I'm getting it a bit mixed up. But he said, I can make you greater than God. And he pointed to a picture of Mata Yashoda. She's binding up little Lala Krishna. She's binding him up. How is she allowed to do that? Our Goswamis explain. Yes, like she is allowed to bind God with her love. It's this might be a slight difference between the Sharanagati path and maybe the Gaudiya understanding of bhakti, is that both are important. You must have Sharanagati. The level of surrender is as important as obviously the mercy of the Lord. So meaning your own action. Haji?
Yes, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
So one is your own surrender. You must do something to work towards God, to work towards this bhakti, devotional service. You must do something to show that I am yours, God. And then Krishna must allow that to happen. The mercy must flow, like you're saying. So both are important. Our own actions and the mercy in
all actions. He is the karta. The sankalpa is yours, the initial sankalpa. If I
Yes.
want,
Yes.
okay. So if I see a sandalwood, small piece of sandalwood in a shop, so I can have just breaking it down. One of three things I can do. So I can say, this
Mm,
is sandalwood. I'll buy it. I'll go and apply it on my shaligrama or archa vigraha, my Bhagavana.
mm,
He'll be so happy. He'll smell so nice and so on.
mm,
Sattva guni. So you have that sankalpa, and then
mm,
Bhagavana will do the rest for you. He'll say, the moment you think that I will apply it for Bhagavana, that is my sankalpa. The rest is done by him. If I have a
mm,
rajasic this thing, so if I inkling, leaning, then I'll say, yeah, this is good, but my skin, is becoming a little dry. Let me apply it and look all nice and handsome. So then that is rajasic for myself, for my hair and so on. I'm having hair loss, hair fall, or something I'm happy, I'll do it for myself. So I think the first thought, the sankalpa is mine, the rest is done by him. Karta is still him. He's the one who's doing it. Then tamasic, I say,
mm,
I'm going to steal it, I'm going to sell it and make a lot of money. The tamasic. You think it, the sankalpa is yours, the rest is done by him. He only does it.
mm.
Because he was
Right.
given you free choice, then he has to abide by what you want. Because otherwise,
Yes.
if he only makes you do only the good things, that's why you need to be devoted. Devoted meaning devotee doesn't mind him helping you out a little bit. And then you say,
Mm,
okay, thank you for helping me. A person who is not a devotee will say, why the hell did he do? I want to do it.
mm,
I am the karta.
mm,
That is
mm.
agyana. That agyana leads to karma. Agyana, there are two agyanas. I'll explain another time maybe. The mamakara and ahamkara, and that only leads to janma, and janma again leads to agyana. So that is the cycle.
Mamakara.
Yeah.
Yes. This karmanyevadhikaraste. Ma phaleshu
No,
kadachana.
yes. No. That mamakara doesn't come. Mamakara means mine. So why is there agyana?
Mine,
So there
mine,
are
mine.
this
Right, right, right.
mine, me and mine. No. So
Ha
the
ha.
question is,
Right.
why there is a slokam in
Mm,
Vishnu Purana. So I think I've written this. I forgot this slok. I don't remember. I haven't read the Vishnu Puran properly. Shruyatamapya vidyayah swarupam kulanandanam anatmane atmabuddhirya asve samati yamatihi. So what it's saying is there are two reasons. Anatmane atmabuddhihi.
mhm,
Understanding that which is not Atma to be the Atma. So deha mein Atma ka buddhi. You're saying this
mhm.
deha Atmas buddhi. So this body is only me. Ye deha hi hum hai. Deha hi Atma hai. This
Right.
is the first reason that is called ahamkara here. Ahamkara ka that is not man, ego. This is not referring to that kind of ahamkara. Here the ahamkara is referring to misunderstanding the self to be the body or anything other than the body, other than the self. And the second one is aswe aswe samiti yamati. Aswe means swa means from swayam, which is me. Aswe, that which is not mine, I accept to be mine. So if I
Right.
think something other than me to be Atma and other than mine to
Mhm.
be me, because everything is Bhagavana's. So does Krishna steal? No, he doesn't. Everything belongs to him. How can he steal? When
Right.
he's stealing the butter, he's not a thief. He only appears to be, because that butter belongs to him. The person who made the butter is his. The pot is his. The Atma within that also he is only residing.
Right.
So it's all
I
his.
love
So
it,
he
Srila
was.
Prabhupada. I just want to say one in a big assembly, somebody said, "What kind of a god he's running away with other people's wives." He's talking about Krishna. In one of the lectures, this man stands up. I don't believe in your God. He runs away with other people's wives. So Srila Prabhupada said, no, the fact is you are actually with his wife because everything is Prakriti and he's the only Purusha.
Yes,
He's
that's
the
correct.
only Purusha. So what you're explaining, every single thing is him. It belongs to him. He's the only Karta. Everything is his. We are only able to experience and exist because of his mercy, because of his love, because of his benediction. So it just getting this perspective, it shifts your entire experience of existence.
Yes, absolutely. Because what happens is this ahamkara and mamakara, then due to this arises kamam, krodham, lobham, moham,
Hmm.
tyaktyaatmanam bhavaya koham, atmagyana vihina moodaste pashyante narakani gudha, he says in Bhajagovidam. This is a Shankaracharya again. But he's saying
Yes.
that these come because of this ahamkara, mamakara. If you are not understanding who you are and what is yours, you are nobody, you are Bhagavanas, nothing is yours. Understand that. That will be a point of salvation.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm going to start taking questions because we could go on all day and it's almost 2 hours coming up.
Yes.
So let's see. Do you guys have any questions? Um, I remember reading something very briefly by my friend Gopi Geeta. Thank you for listening and commenting, Gopi Ji. And she was asking about what is your, I can't pull up the question just now, but what is your goal when you think of moksha, Devnarayan Ji? What is your ultimate goal? What do you
Ultimate goal
envision?
is not moksha, uh,
Right.
because moksha means that is a desire to attain it. There is no ultimate goal. I can't have a goal anymore because I'm Sampurna Sharanagati. That means whatever he wants, that will happen. I'm just living, and whatever I have been instructed by my Acharya, I will do. Acharya Bhimana is my ultimate goal, to realize that my Acharya is only everything, because that is the way, that is the only way. I don't want moksha. I don't care about moksha. I only want to be in the lotus feet of my Acharya, and whatever he wants of me will happen. That is the goal.
Wow. Wow. This is what again I have to repeat this because this is exactly the teaching of Srila Prabhupada that the Vaishnava, the devotee, does not even desire moksha. This is exactly what Srila Prabhupada is
That is
teaching.
also karma.
He's yes. Even the desire for moksha is somehow there's still this aham, this identification with yeah. So he's saying that this idea of just even surrendering the outcome, this perfection of the goal itself, surrendering even that, the result of that to his desire, to Krishna's will, to God's will, to Narayana's will.
They're the
That is
same. They're
very,
the
very
same. They're
beautiful.
all the yes.
But
Paravyuha
what if
Vibhava
somebody
Antaryami Archa. They're all the same. So they are no
hmm,
different.
yes. What if
It-
somebody says, well, that seems a bit sadistic in itself. Don't you want to enjoy?
who am I? I'm nobody. Who is enjoying? That's the thing. Now, because I've surrendered my self identity, there is no enjoyment now. I enjoy because of the surrender of my identity. If Bhagavana thinks this self should enjoy, it will enjoy. If the Bhagavana thinks that I should go with him, that will happen. And if he doesn't even need to think, his sankalpa is there. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter anymore, you see. But that does not mean you stop doing karma. That is very important. That's why he says, you know, when Bhagavana comes, what does he do? Paritranaya sadhunam. That's why he comes. He doesn't come for the vinashaya cha duskritam dharma sansthapanartha. That is secondary. When you are growing paddy, the husk and the hay come with it. But the goal is to grow paddy, not the husk or the hay. So he comes for his devotees. Paritranaya sadhunam. Then
Yes.
because he has already come, might as well, have some hay, which is good for the later on husk and so on for the cows. So you use that as well. But the
Yes.
reason is that just like that, whatever he wants will happen
Hmm.
anyway. And there is nothing I can do about
Wonderful.
it. There is
But the thing is,
anyway.
I think what I'm trying to hint at is that the greatest joy, the greatest ananda is within this surrender, is within actually giving up
Yeah.
your own sankalpa shakti or your own, this identity as such. Not, you don't lose your individuality at all at any point, but giving up this idea that I know what's best for me, therefore I should kind of go into this mood with God, and it's almost that can also be a limiting factor. So surrendering fully and then allowing whatever He wills to
No, it's not. I'm nobody
manifest
to
for us.
allow. I, I don't have any established entity. I'm nobody to allow. I'm not allowing him to come. See, that's the wrong notion. I'm not allowing his
Well,
interference.
by
I'm
giving up
nobody
your
to interfere.
giving up your by giving up your sankalpa itself, even
No,
that
I
act
didn't
of
give it up.
sharanagati.
I didn't give it up really. That is the way I should be. I've just become what I should have already been. You see, there is a
Acha.
subtle understanding, because if I'm saying that I am that which is giving it up, then that karta
Hmm.
is still me there, and then again there is no sharanagati there. So it takes a little more
Acha.
adhyayana, actually, more thought just to think about these things.
Okay,
uh,
I was just going to the notion that even we talked about this. You said sharanagati, but even that thought, you have to do something to attain sharanagati.
yes, that's what the acharya does for you.
Acha.
Pancha sanskara. So the acharya will do it, to wear the tilak. That's why I wear it, because I've done pancha sanskara, tilak, tapa. Okay.
But
And
you do it. You do some actions. So like you're saying, you have to do so, like I think we're getting caught
Yes,
up in
because
semantics.
yes, no, don't worry about the semantics. The thing is, as long as you're in this body, karma must be done. Whether
Yes.
you think, whether you think I am doing it, whether you think you are doing it, or Bhagavan is doing it, it has to be done. The only difference now is that even my sankalpa, I say, okay, Bhagavan only must have willed it. So sometimes when I get lazy also, I say, Bhagavan only wants me to be lazy. Because now I've surrendered everything. Now he cannot blame me for being lazy, because I surrendered my will to be lazy also. He
Well,
allowed me. You see, I'm just joking, but it's
I
slightly
know.
more than
I was
that.
gonna say no, but it's
I'm
a very
joking.
good point, because I think many people, many amongst at least Vaishnavas, we find this bit of a confusion, because once you surrender, then you think, well, Krishna's in charge of all my karmas anyway, so now
No, it
I
doesn't work
must.
like that. No.
Ah,
Kim Karatu. There is an understanding. It's sometimes the words slip me because I have to study my own stuff also, and these things they come in the way.
it's
It
okay.
basically means without anything, swabhimana, that I am doing it, that action will be performed. A bhakta will be like that. He's only seva. He doesn't care about anything. This care, to think about whether I care or not, is also care in itself. Forget that also. Doesn't matter. Keep doing seva, help the rest.
Okay. Well, I mean, the thing is, that's why Srila Prabhupada again and again comes back to devotional service. You continue to do, like you were saying earlier, even that you must have this karma. You must do something. So you have to just make sure that whatever you are doing is kind of not just in line with Guru, Shastra and Sadhu. You must know what your action should be, and find the Guru, surrender, and then everything will be purified. Everything will be
After Sharanagati, all your karma is been dissociated with the Atma, except for your prarabdha.
right.
Anavibhagata, avibhagata, parada. I think anavibhagata is also is separated from you. So avibhagata, whatever you're using right now, because this is karma jamnyam, with some karma you're born. So because
Okay.
you're born with this karma, then you must be
Right.
from this karma. You must live out this karma, and then only the body will go. After you finish this karma, only the body will go. So until then, you are doing karma. That's all. Doing service.
Right. Okay. So my friend is back. She's saying, what form of God do you meditate on and worship?
Bhagavan, Sriman Narayana. Bhagavana, if you understand, Bhagavana is in 5 forms. 5 forms in the sense 5 different. And it's like me. When I'm here, I'm talking to you. When I'm going to the university, I'm a student. Maybe if I ever establish a Shankha Chakra as an institution, then I'll be maybe a principal there for some time. You see, the same person is doing different things. And that's what
Right.
Bhagavana is. He does different things at different times. So when he's in Vaikuntham, Tripad Vibhuti, he's as Paravatara, which is Vasudeva. We call him Vasudeva, you call him another, you call him Krishna if you like, no problem, because they're the same thing. It's specifically talking about something. This Nama Rupa Vibhedena, don't worry about that so much. Then Vyuha Avatara, Shankarsan, Pradyumna, Niruddha, and Vyuha Vasudeva. He comes in for Srishti. Then Vibhava Avatara, Ramakrishna, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha. These are all complete avatars, complete potency. There are no differences within that Bhagavana and that Bhagavana in Vaikuntham. Vibhava. Antaryami Avatara. Within each, Jivatma is a Paramatma within residing. And with that only, the Jivatma gets any potential to do anything. Even to have the thought of Mamakara and Ahamkara, it comes from that Paramatma only. And that is Antaryami. That is also in full potency. So when somebody says God is within you, yes, but it's not that he's not without. He's within as well and without, everywhere. And then Archa Avatara, like in Vigraha, like Shaligramam, or if you have done Prana Pratishtha Puja in the right way, it takes maybe 10-15 days, sometimes take 2-3 months if you've done it the right way. When you're doing it correctly, that is also Bhagavana. There is only one Bhagavana, and the forms are many. I have not been able to really associate at the moment in what form do I want to see him as. It hasn't occurred to me right now yet, because my simple thing is I am an unintelligent being, Gyan Abhava. To be able to understand this is going to take me a while. But regardless, the simple understanding is I don't meditate as Raja Yoga. I do not do Samadhi. Even I used to work with my chakras and so on before. Right now, I don't have time to do it. And if I ever were to pinpoint one Bhagavana that I would be worshipping, that would be Bhagavan Sriman Narayana, the same Paravatara which is in Leela Vibhuti ensuring this existence. That is Sriman Narayana. You may call him the one who is lying down like this in the Sheshanaga, in the ocean of deluge. Not the one which is Vishnu, which comes slightly later, but the one previously. When Pralaya happens, Bhagavan Sriman Narayana is still alive, still there. The rest is not there, but he is there. From him, that Padmanabha, then the anda is there. Tat srishtva tadevanu pravishat. In that anda, the Bhagavan Sriman Narayana descends, goes within that anda, and then Srishti is formed. So that's Bhagavana is what I wish.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And before I move to the next ones, can you also briefly just state the position of Shri? It's called the Shri Sampradaya. So, what is the position of Lakshmi ji?
Lakshmi ji is considered a Jivatma, but very priya to Bhagavan. And she doesn't remain apart from Paramatma. There is no point where Shri is not with Paramatma. So
sorry, can you clarify? You said she is considered Jivatma.
Yes, she is considered Jivatma in Sri Sampradaya. There is some Bheda there also somewhere here and there. But she remains within the Vakshasthala, this part. It's Kaustuba Mani. So Bhagavana differentiates with us because he has Shri in his Vakshasthala and Kaustuba Mani as well. And we do not have that. Even though we will have Chaturbhuja when we enter Vaikuntham. There's another understanding of this. This is not important right now. But Shri is with Narayana. So when we say Narayana, I never say Narayana by itself. I would say Sriman Narayana because they don't come separately. It's like the pizza. It doesn't come without the cheese.
How can she? Maybe my understanding of Jivatma, Jiva Tattva is different maybe than what you are suggesting, or what maybe because how can she be Jiva Tattva? Because
Jiva many. Paramatma is when Jiva, all the Jiva and all the Prakriti come together. That is the body of Paramatma. Paramatma is more than Jiva. So even though they're very similar, there's some differences. One Jivatma is Shri, but she has Prathamikta. She is the best of the Jivas because Bhagavana likes her. And you say she, but there is no lingam there because in that point, that Sharira, one person can take hundreds of Shariras because the Jnana can pass on, is not limited to one body there. So just like that, Shri has that potential. You cannot attain moksha without Shri. So Shri will tell Bhagavana, please give him, please do daya on this guy. And then Bhagavana will say, okay, fine, you are saying so. Nirhetu kripa, moksha. That's how it happens. So Shri is there, they're not apart.
Right, that's exactly the understanding of Srimati Radharani. Without Srimati Radharani's, Srila Prabhupada explains that without her, so I have a feeling there's a big connection between.
But we don't say Shri is Radharani. So
no, I know
Shri
you don't.
Neela. So Neela Devi. Oh, you do, is it? Because we say Shri
Gaudiya
Radharani Neela Devi.
Gaudiya Vaishnavas considered Srimati Radharani to be the original source of all the Devi Tattvas, or Lakshmi ji, all the energies. So I think that it might be the one parallel that I can see. But the idea is, Srila Prabhupada says, without the mercy of Srimati Radharani, Krishna actually, to turn his head to even pay attention to the jivas, something. Why does he have to pay attention? So she gets his attention, saying, please, she really wants your help. So yeah, that okay. So wonderful. Thank you for that clarification about. Okay, let's just take one last question because we have already done 2 hours. 2 hours. So thank you everyone for listening. Still have 205 people here. Okay. Krishna, there's so many comments coming through. I'm having a hard time. Somebody's asking differences between the two sampradayas. There's so many of them. Okay, should we just start?
Don't worry about the differences, I say.
Differences ko rehne do.
Because they come much later. The differences will come much later. Then you stick to one sampradaya, definitely. So stick to one. Don't go from one to another, jumping, bungee jumping. Don't jump from one place to another. Stick to one. But until then, if you stick to one, go ahead with that. But don't worry about the differences too much. There are more similarities than there are differences, honestly. And because they all are basically referring to the same thing. Yeah. So is he asking?
Okay, go on then.
Should I answer this question, which is on the screen?
Yes, please.
Okay. So that that is a pranav akshara made up of 3 different syllables there. A, U, and Ma. A is referring to Jivatma. U and Ma is referring. Ma is referring to Jivatma. Mama. Yeah. And then A is referring to Paramatma, the communion of Jivatma and Paramatma. Om is referring to Brahma. Brahma. That means Bhagavana, Sriman Narayana. Yes. Parabrahma. Okay. Om is this, that. Yes. We don't generally say the Ucharana, we don't do. Pranava is how you refer to it as. And Pranavo Dhanuhu Saro, there is a Actually, if I have time, I can tell you this also. So
Well,
there is
Krishna
a
says in the Bhagavad Gita, Vedyam Pavitramokar Riksama Yajurivicha. He also says, Pranava Aham. I'm also
yes.
forgetting right now. But he says, I am that Pranava. Yes,
So
so obviously,
yes.
Narayana, Krishna, same.
So
But
at the there is a beautiful shloka mantra actually, because it's from the Mundaka Upanishad. It says Pranavo dhanuhu sharohyatma brahmatal lakshamuchyate at apramattena vedhavyam. So actually at the time of moksha, it's like when the arrow is going into a body, the arrow is not different from the body now. They are one and the same, even though they remain different in their qualities. There, they become one and the same. So moksha is something like that, where you and the arrow and the body which it is penetrating become one. Pranavo dhanuhu. Okay.
mm,
So then what is the pranava who ensures that the prakriti and jivasma come together, something like that. I think
wonderful.
it takes some a little more time to explain this one, but
Yes.
yes, that is the significance of om. It is basically referring to Bhagavana. You can refer to Bhagavana as pranava as well.
And I find that the reason why most of the mantra ucharanas, they all begin with this
Hare
sound
Om.
vibration is because it's
Hare
so
Om.
powerful. Maybe you can talk briefly about the power of vibration and how when you say, even, why do we chant Om? Why do we
So
purify ourselves with the sound vibration?
see, vibrations are very important for us because everything is in a form of vibration. Okay, everything that exists, what you see, also you see only vibrations. You're not seeing the thing really. The light particles hit the atoms of the surface you're seeing. The surface atoms of that, the electrons get charged. The electrons move up, and then when it comes down, the photons are released again. Those released photons you see. So they're basically vibrations. No? Photons can be in wave and particle form. So in the wave form
Right.
you see. So everything is vibration. Now in the Vedam is also vibration because it's Shruti. Shruti means you've heard it from something or you have acquired that vibration from something. That's why it is Apaurushaya. Nobody's written it. It
Mhm.
always exists. Establishment of the Big Bang theory is also because of the vibrations they are able to predict from, they are able to recognize from long, long time ago. So when you do the Vedam, there are specific ways of doing Hare He. See, when we say mantra means that which is from the Veda. They are called mantra. The others are called shloka. You must understand the difference. If it
Mm,
is in the Vedam, they are called mantras. If it is in
mm,
the um, it's anything other than the Veda Grantha, they are called shlokas. Okay, they are not called mantras. So most of these, what I say, is mantras, shlokas, because they are from maybe Bhagavad Gita. You don't say which mantra, you say which shloka. But because Bhagavad Gita is also Bhagavan, as you can say, like a Vedam only, sometimes they will be referred to as mantra, but not generally. So the
mm,
vibration is very important, how you say it. So when people listen to the Vedam, when yajnas are happening, it is very important on how you say it. Give you an example.
mm.
What's the time? It's okay. Yeah, I'm just saying because you don't pronounce the Vedam once it becomes dark, because then it'll have the adverse effects. So anyway, so if you let's say let me go with the first mantra of the Purusha Suktam, because Purusha Suktam is a very important. I think Sukta Ratnam we'll call it, because Ratnam, because it is there in all the four Vedam. Okay, Irigyajur Sam Atharva.
Mhm, mhm,
Hare Amma Sahasrashirekha Purukha Sahasrakshah Sahasrapata Sabhumigum Sarvatas Pratvatyattishtadashangulam. Hare Amma. I can go ahead. Purukha evedagum sarvam jadabhutan jaccha bhavyam bhutamritatvaseshano jadannenatirohati एतावानस्य महिमा तोजायांश्च पुरुषः पादोस्य विश्वाभूता नित्रिपादस्यामृतं दिवि हरे ओम. It's long, it takes time, but you see the vibration. There is a specific vibration to it. Not everybody can produce it. It takes a lot of time, lot of effort to really come out and understand how these vibrations work, and it really has a positive effect on you and the things around you. Just physical vibration more than anything else. So work with the physical, then you understand the metaphysical aspects of this. So that is the
mhm,
importance of Om, because the Pranava Akshara, every mantra starts with a Pranava Akshara. Hari Om. Who is Om? Hari Om. Hari is the
mhm,
Hari
mm.
is who?
Wonderful.
Haridra, from Haridra, the person with the Haridra Varna, this kind of Varna. That's how he looks probably. So Haridra is
That
turmeric.
is okay. All right, Haridra. Yes. Wow. So I mean, we could literally go on for hours with. I think we should have you back on if that's okay with you. And there are many questions, but I feel like if I ask them, it will take another half an hour for us to answer. I just wanted to maybe just have some concluding words. There are many people who are saying things like, if I wanted to learn Sanskrit, where should I go? Or if they want to get in touch with you. For the record, for anyone
Just
listening,
sorry.
no, it's okay. Devnarayan does teach this Tattvatraya and Sanatana Dharma and this Vedic wisdom. He teaches, so please get in touch with him if you want to learn more, and also follow Shankha Chakra on Facebook, on specifically on Instagram. You're doing some amazing work there. I'm curious, who does all the illustrations?
I
They're
do it.
very good. You do the illustration yourself?
Yeah. I do the illustration. Some of them my friend does, but most of the illustrations on
Acha,
Shankar Chakra are mine only. Apart from the recent few ones that my friend has done. But the rest,
acha,
the
but
earlier ones
very
are all.
good. For anyone interested, please have a look, because you make the little sages and the Vishnu and the you
Yeah,
make
some of them are
make a
friends.
lot of
Yeah.
yes, fantastic work, and you teach yoga, and so we're just so grateful to be able to collaborate with you, and feeling very inspired to see the youth. Devnarayan is only 23 years old. Please give him your blessings. I pray that all the Vaishnavas listening, please bless Devnarayan that he may become a very powerful preacher of Sanatana Dharma, and may you be very, very successful with
Nah,
everything that you desire in the service of the Supreme Person. And if you have some closing statements, please.
I am certainly humbled by this. Um, I don't deserve it, but it's okay.
Right.
Thank you very much. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm not a very great person. You just message me on Instagram. If you just message me by saying hi, then I will not reply, because I don't know what hi is. It doesn't make sense. I get a lot of messages which is hi. Give some substance, and then with that we can go ahead. I don't really teach nowadays because I'm university, but we can always discuss things, and how to find the right path. I can always try and aid you, or find you somebody who can help you. When people are in the West, it's much easier to just go alongside with ISKCON, very well established institution. And I've always said that for
Yes.
many people who are in India, they have a little more choice there, and you can use that choice quotient that you have. And of course, if you're in
Yes.
India and you still like the philosophy of Gaudiya Sampradaya, then you not only ISKCON, there are other Gaudiya Sampradayas also there now. But I mean, they've
Yeah.
always been there. But as long as a Vaishnava, I've always pushed people into Vaishnava, because I think Vaishnava
Yes.
Parama Dharma. That's what I think, and I hope that with the grace of Bhagavan Sriman Narayana and my acharyas, you all find and realize that it is just that the attainment of Bhagavana is the sole purpose of this life, and you have gotten this life. It is so rare that if you start digging the sand out of the ocean with a with a um, with a blade of grass, it is as rare to get a human body as to dig the entire ocean, the sand out of the entire ocean with a blade of grass. That's how rare it is to be born a human being. Don't waste time.
Wow.
Just focus on what you do. Focus on Sanatana Dharma. Focus on Bhagavan Sriman Narayana, or that's just the name as I've always reiterated. And just surrender
Krishna,
to that,
they're the
and
same person, right?
Jai Sriman
Exactly.
Narayana, Srimate
Jai
Ramanujaya.
Shriman Narayan. Jai. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada. So wonderful. Thank you so much. And we'll try to have you back. Thank you to all of our listeners. And if you found something interesting here, please do share it, because there's nothing more deficient in today's world as topics discussing the supreme truth. So please, if you found any of this useful, please share it with everybody you know. Hare Krishna.
Narayana. Jai
Jai Shriman Narayana.
Narayana.